All right, what's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the den. I apologize. I had to go to war with Scotty for a second. Thinks he runs shit. He don't run nothing. I'm your host, Ed Honcho. We're gonna talk about some of the stuff, some of the backlash that's going on with Kanye. In the interview that he did, the album that he dropped, and I haven't even listened to the whole album, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. Just listen to some of the things. I think Kanye is a very influential person. And when I was younger, I didn't really give a fuck about it. As I'm older and listen to some of the things that he said, it's very interesting. But we're going to get into that shortly. Before we do all that, let's see what we got joining us this evening. Culture Anubis, what's the motherfucking deal? D to Gamma. Saw Sports TV, which is me. I fried myself. Rashida Reed. Sweet Berry. Let's see. INF Storms, Miss Bell, what's the motherfucking deal? Cartier, what's the motherfucking deal? Professor Trio, what's the motherfucking deal? Beyond a Funny Nigga, what's the motherfucking deal? Let me see. Right. Female pimp, but whatever you're talking about. So, yeah, you got this weird generation, right? Because I've seen some. You got like three groups of. I'd say you got four groups of hip hop fans. Okay. I've been great for a little bit. I don't know what's been happening. It's just. I've been stressing. Nah, it's all good. Cassie Cage, what's the motherfucking deal? Good to see you. What have you been playing? Outer Worlds, something like that. You know, I be lurking. I don't be knowing too much. I've been out the game in loop. I was this close to going for the Call of Duty, but I know I only want it for the single player. I don't really care about the rest of it, so I'll probably wait a little bit, catch it on sale. I'm very cheap. I don't like to buy shit unless I can get it. I don't care if it's like $2 off. I have to get something. I have to get a deal. Otherwise, I feel like I got hustled. But good to see you. I want to talk about Kanye and why everybody's upset. Not even everybody's upset. I think you got, like I said, I was saying you have four kind of groups of hip hop people. And I think it's kind of generationally based, and I'm gonna break it down to you real quick. You have a little bit slightly older crowd who realize who fuck with Kanye, and this is excluding the super hip hop heads, and we talking about the original. We ain't talking about Curtis Blow and Fabulous Five and all that shit. You know, we ain't talking about Big Daddy Kane and all that East Coast shit. But we're just talking about, let's say, the 2000s and beyond, right? And I think that there was a change. Like, this is, you have your Tupac crowd, and that's the 90s. Who would always feel like there was nothing ever greater than Tupac. Tupac changed the game, and he did what he did. Tupac had a hellacious work ethic, extremely respectful to what he's done. He said, Barbie Brown, what's the motherfucking deal? Glad you could join us. And so you have the Tupac crowd. You're going to have the Tupac. The Tupac was the greatest of all time. You got people who will never deviate from that. So it's actually maybe five groups. There may be more than that I think about. You have your Tupac, change the game for everybody crowd. There's that. Then you have your Kanye, change the game for everybody crowd. Best to ever do it, cultural changer. And I think with the levels he's progressed, you talk about character development in shows that make, great shows. Kanye's character development over his career is extremely interesting. Things that he's gone through, overcoming still to have the passion and to put in the work, and just I'm not a fashion person, but he's done the fashion thing without making it look really, really suspect. It looks dirty because he has some clothes that look like homeless people clothes for a little bit, but it doesn't ever look questionable, if you get what I'm saying. Some of these guys in their fashion are, but Kanye made it cool to change the game up because he started doing the little collared shirt, and he had, The Rock and all them niggas doing that. He changed the game as far as making it cool to wear that college tie. He changed the game where it started being cool to talk about collegiate, where it wasn't just all shoot 'em up, bang, bang, or we super rich. Now, he did have some of that going on. He did have some of that going on throughout his career, but it wasn't ever no gang type shit, right? Then you have the younger crowd, like I seen, who saw somebody say about Good Kid, Mad City. Good Kid, Mad City was cool. I like it. I like Kendrick Lamar. I've liked most of his albums that I've heard. I don't know. Some people do. I don't put him. It's like yes, he's a conscious artist, but he's not. I don't think Kendrick don't really. It's not conscious to me for some reason. It's cool. Like I get it. It's different. But I don't know. I just don't see Kendrick as like conscious to me. You feel me? Kendrick, man, you've been taking a lot of L's lately. I hope all is well with you. Won't you just step back from that ledge, my friend? But you have the Kendrick crowd, because I saw a couple of people. I saw a couple. Yeah, kind of like it's like a 50-50 thing what you get from Kendrick. I've seen some people say, "Oh, he's the best." And then you have the crowd, the questionable crowd, the ones who sit here and say Drake is the greatest of all time. Drake has never done anything to change the game. Like, that's what you must understand. You can like his music. You can say he's been a hit maker. You can say all these things about him. But Drake has never changed the game. Drake has always played it soft. Drake has never gone out and went out on a limb and done something unique. He's seen things that are successful low key and brought them maybe to the mainstream, or he's taken styles that have been kind of, forgotten about a little bit. He took a lot of old stuff from the 90s, early 2000s, brought that back, but he's never gone out on a limb and done something unique. I'll give Kendrick unique. Kanye, unique. Top 30, number 50. Who else? Who is the other one? Like I said, we just talked about Pac. Pac did something different. Went out on a limb, did something different. Recreated himself. And then, like I said, there's 4 groups. I said there's Kanye, there's Pac, there's the Drake crowd, which if you're in that Drake crowd, I can't trust you. And you're questionable because Drake makes ladies' music. He makes music for women and the others. Might as well throw him in the group with Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj and them. And then I guess you would have some holdouts. I think you would still have some holdouts from the. I think you'll still have some holdouts from the Lil Wayne crowd, right? Because there was a point in time where Wayne wasn't nobody fucking with him. It just is what it is. And Wayne kind of changed, and they're like, Wayne changed the hustle of the mixtape. And then everybody kind of started emulating it. But at no point can someone sit here and honestly say, you can say he has hits, you can say all that stuff. You can never say that Drake has elevated the game, changed the game, done anything. He's emulated the game and been successful with that. But that's it. That's all you can say about Drake. So, I mean, if you're a big Drake fan, that's cool with you. But I like super Drake fans, I question their integrity sometimes. I'm just being honest with you. Like, I just have, your morals are questionable. Look, Wayne changed the game. Like, Wayne brought about a lot of these new little rappers. Like, regardless of how you feel about him, Wayne had an interesting story arc. But anyway, get away from all that. We're here to talk about Kanye. And the reason why I want to talk about Kanye is because he said something. It's not even so much the album, the music. It's interesting. I haven't heard the whole album. I've heard about half of it. And then the interview is what the biggest thing is. The interview that he did with Big Boy about a day or two ago. And people are flipping out over what he said. Now, I listened to it, took a couple of notes on some things that I want to address. I'm going to try to run through them quickly. And then I want to open up the line, get some of your thoughts on just, where we are, how you feel about some of these comments and all this stuff. Girl got Drake tattooed on her forehead. I tell you, Drake makes the music for the ladies. But let's get into it. So he said a couple of things, right? And what I think that stood out so much about this interview that he did is because there's a lot of things that he said that I've said here in the den maybe in a different context, maybe in a different way. But he said some things. I'm not in the music industry, so I don't know shit about that. But these are just my observations as a normal human being, right? And he said something. I tell you, man, I've told y'all all time and time again. I said, what is black culture? There is no fucking culture. I hate this phrase, for the culture. For the culture. What's the fucking culture? There is no culture. Okay? The culture that you embrace, rap music is not the culture. Because there was a culture before that. Like, y'all let people take your mind and say, oh, rap music is your culture. This hip hop, this drug selling shit is your culture. Strippers, it's your culture. It's not the fucking culture. Like, black people have been making great music before then. You can talk about the blues, you can talk about jazz, you can talk about all that shit. You ain't never hear the motherfuckers say, oh, for the culture. That's the culture. Like, in music and entertainment is not your culture. Like, that's the goofy shit that I hate, right? There is no fucking culture. And so what he said, man, he said, we're orphans. We don't have a culture. It's like, and when he said that shit, I was like, damn, that's a beautiful way to put it. What is that? Like, you said, we're orphans. You don't have a culture. He said, your culture is owned by somebody else. So you signing these deals, these record deals, trying to get deals, do all this other stuff. It's owned by everybody else. You don't even own your culture. And that's why I find that shit so fucking dumb. Like, because everybody, like, I get mad, I get annoyed, I get frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it, man. Think about it. And Kanye gonna have me probably wild it out these next few weeks because it was a great interview. And the energy that he had, some people will say, man, he lost his shit. Kanye lost his fucking mind. You know, Kanye, when he gets real passionate, he starts speaking. You gotta love it because you don't hear that kind of passion from people. You can tell when people do interviews, they stay in this little comfort zone. They stay in this little weird space to make sure they're saying all the right things, doing all the right shit. But like you said, who designed the culture? Who designed the culture? Because the thing that black people are talking about, the culture, you didn't design that shit because you were going out to these execs with the Jimmy Iovine's and all these other people who were giving out the deals and telling you what kind of music you could make, right? So they designed the culture for you, but yet you claim it. So that's what I'm saying. It's so fucking stupid. I don't do shit for the culture. I don't know what the fuck. There is no culture, so I don't do it for the culture. I'm not fucking with you. I'm not fucking with you tonight, beyond. You're trying to trap me. You want YouTube to take me out. Nah, I'm fucking with you. He said you signed the culture votes to these people who take your culture and tell you what your culture is. Then he got on the topic of how because he supports Trump, people call him coon now, and he's this and he's that, and he's like, you know, that these are the same people who are telling you who you're supposed to vote for because you're black, or who you're supposed to vote for because you're Christian. They're trying to tell you who you can and can't be, who you should and shouldn't be. And he said, I'm the same guy that told you George Bush doesn't care about black people, but now I'm the coon, you know. It's crazy that you can't have differing opinions on things without people feeling like they got to say this, that, and the third about you, or they're going to label you. And he's like, I own a $3 billion company. You know, why do I give a shit about what these people are saying? But the thing is, what he said is like, he differentiated. You got to listen. You got to listen to things carefully because Big Boy kept asking him, do you care what people think? And then he asked him, are you afraid of what people think? And again, one word can change a lot. And he said, yeah, he cares what people think. He definitely cares what people think, but he's not afraid of people. He said the only thing he's afraid of is God, and so that's why he lives his life a little bit differently. He said Kanye's crazy, but he ain't done. There's a reason why Kanye's a leader rather than the mass majority of yes sir artists in Israel. Exactly. That's why Kanye can go out and do his own thing. You know, he talked about the mental health stuff. He talked about, you know, going in middle America. He talked about how poisonous the mindset of LA and New York is. And he talked about, like, because they'll have you believe in one thing, but he said, but once you go to middle America and see what the real issues are, it's nothing like that. He said people, you know, thank him for being independent, for having an opinion on stuff. And so that's the crazy thing. Hey, now you got to make sure there's Nas and then there's Lil Nas X. Two very different people. So Lil Nas X is the little new weird guy who's questionable, and Nas is a pioneer. Oh, and I guess that would be your other group, right? Your other group would be the people who say Jay-Z's the best. Okay, so there's that. But like I say, man, Kanye said a lot of stuff. Like I said, it's just some quotes and things that he said, and I'm just trying to run down. He talked about being canceled, right? That's why he talked about being canceled. He's like, I was canceled before the term cancel was cool, before it ever became a thing. I was canceled before people had cancel culture. And he's like, and I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you just gotta respect, man, when a guy goes against group. I mean, he took us. I mean, come on. You telling me there's a lot of artists out here. They're telling you, oh, vote for so and so, vote Democrat. You can vote for whoever you want to as long as it's Democratic. And again, I'm not telling. Again, I tell you, I don't care because I'm not a Trump fanboy. I don't hate Trump. Like, I just use reason. I see what's going on one particular side, and I think it's getting sick. And we got to talk about something because Miss Grace posted an article. So y'all remind me, please remind me before we open up the line. I'm gonna try to run through this real quick so we can get some time to open up the line. In Washington, Sweet Berry, they say that math is racist now. Math is racist now. We're gonna get into that. But he just talked about, he's like, we sit here and talk about being free, but he said, that we're sitting here, we'll rap about things that'll get you put in jail, but then, you want to work on prison reform, right? Like, what kind of dumb shit is that? You rapping about stuff that gets people arrested, locked up, that's illegal, but then you want to be the person who heads up prison reform. He's talking about how that was goofy. Like I said, he just talked about, I always want to fuck another. I always thought that was weird, okay? And I talk about when I was young, I did a bunch of goofy shit. But as I got older and I just thought about it, like, that's weird shit. And it's a lot of weird ass shit. Like, and both sides, because there's women who say, oh, I can take your man, I'll do this, and this. And there's niggas who say, oh, nigga, I'll fuck your bitch. Like, why is that a thing? Why is that a fucking thing? Like, why is that the ideology? Why is that the belief? Like, why is that a cool thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's lame as shit. Again, the mentality, it's low life, it's scumbaggery, it's trash shit. It's bottom of the barrel shit. But this is what you promote. We promote people saying that, we want to have, what is this, what's the word? I can't think of it. Not infidelity, but the other word. But anyway, let me run down these things. Like I said, it's a bunch of stuff he said that I thought was awesome. You talk about locked up being prison reform. You talked about fuck somebody else, be a $3 billion company, to cancel the term. Chick-fil-A had a song called Closed on Sunday on the album, right? I said a song called Closed on Sunday. Said the gays got mad at him, wanted to cancel him for Closed on Sunday. When he was one of the first rappers to sit here and say, man, y'all stop saying fag. Y'all stop saying the F word. Y'all stop using that. And he said he got a bunch of flack for that. And he said that, he realized that no matter what you say, you can't please people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't please anybody. You closed on Sunday, all the gays get mad at you. You support, not using these gay slanders and not using that as a term of derogatory term. You get canceled either way. And it's like, that's the things like people are quick to forget. God damn, hair all on my fucking neck, weird shit. People forget what the fuck you do and what you support. As soon as you do one thing they don't like, they turn against you. And so that's why I say, I don't blame him. I feel the same way. It's like, man, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. I talk to my old lady about that all the time. It's like, it doesn't matter. And we've talked about this here. I always use, what's his name? Robert Smith as an example. Motherfucker gives up, $40 million, it's not enough because you got more money. Well, bitch, you ain't helped me make not a cent of this. Because most of you motherfuckers complaining ain't dealing in finances or putting your money in any kind of investments where he made some money. So you didn't even help him get the money. Now, if he was an entertainer or something, maybe. But y'all, again, we will get into that. Chick-fil-A song. So people was mad about that. Burger King even threw a tweet in there talking about open on Sunday. Alicia Moore, how you doing this evening? And I agree, like, you gotta do you, but that's why I say this interview was so refreshing when you watched it, because it was Kanye being Kanye at his best. I heard something about the Gucci Man, Charlamagne, and he talked about Envy was a hoe and Angela Yee was on some bullshit. Envy's a mark, because I saw him try to tweet some, he's in another country talking to people. Envy's we already know about Envy and the dildo DMs. He said something if you notice too, if you watch that interview, yeah, he said you can't do enough for anybody. There's never, that's what he said about that. You can't do enough for anybody, right? No matter what you do, you can never do enough for anybody. People are always going to want more, even though they're not willing to put themselves out there. I threw that in at the end. You see, if you notice that Big Boy, if you watch that interview, and I suggest everybody watch, it's about 48 minutes. Big Boy seemed scared to address himself. Well, I didn't really want to talk politics, but you went there, so he was just real timid in the interview. Like, I didn't necessarily like the way he handled it. Yeah, he dominated the interview kind of on his own and kind of took it where he wanted to go, so I was cool with that. He said something, though, really, really interesting, right? Really, really interesting. He talked about Angry Birds. He was talking about how that was one of the most popular games ever, right? And he's like, what is Angry Birds? What is Angry Birds all about? He did like that. And he talked about how that's something that stimulates the dopamine in women. And so, people who design these games, people who make these apps and all this stuff, they know the science behind the human mind. And so they do these things. He said, what's the most popular app with women? Instagram. He's like, Instagram got your bitch. He said, she's going to post the pictures on Instagram before she ever send them to you. So you're going to put them up like, that's why Instagram is so popular with women. Because it stimulates that dopamine. They get, that stuff back, that motion, that swiping motion, Tinder, Instagram, those things like that. It stimulates something in women. So he's like, Instagram got your bitch. You ain't got it. Instagram, she's going to put all that shit on the IG before you ever see any of it. Let's see. He talked about people living within the rules of being woke. There's rules to being woke, and you so woke that you have to be in the rules of woke. It's not really what you say it is. So I found that very interesting way of putting it. Now, I think the most interesting thing that he said out of everything he said, right, because they got to talking about, what's the name? Was like, well, you put on the red hat, and, when Big Boy was just fucking stupid. Again, like I say, if you support what you support, you don't what you don't. But it's just like, I wish people would sit here, would stop the nonsense, like niggas especially, stop the nonsense with this red hat shit. Y'all ain't got no problem with niggas having red flags, blue flags, fucking green flag, all this other fucking shit. But put a motherfucker start wearing a red hat, and now it's a wrap. Now y'all are afraid. Now y'all are fucking petrified. Like, man, stop the nonsense. You know what I'm saying? You're not afraid of the fucking red hat. You don't like the red hat, and that's cool. But I wish we would stop saying we're getting anxiety and trauma and all this shit. You done seen way worse shit that certified problems, certified violence and things like that behind certain symbols and signs. But then the red hat makes me feel, I feel violated. Like, stop the nonsense, man. Let's stop that shit, please. But he talked about, Big Boy said something like, well, this is, when we see you wearing that red hat, it feels like you're siding with the slave master. And, this feels like, this is all Trump's house. We're in the slave house. You know what I'm saying? And, man, he said something I thought this was excellent. And what he said was, well, what happens to the housekeeper in that house? What do you expect from a housekeeper? You expect them to be quiet, to follow the rules of the house. They're not gonna do that. But what happens if a housekeeper started yelling and being honest and really just, speaking their mind? All the other housekeepers, what they gonna do? Tell them, be quiet. Hey, man, be quiet. Don't do that. Don't say that. And that's basically what he's talking about with this situation, man. And we said, so dude, I fucking moved from Cali to the Midwest. And he said, dude, there's a racist out there. I seen a little kid with a MAGA hat on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, a MAGA hat. Yeah, like, you would swear the MAGA hat is the modern day Klan hood. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't get it. Look, when 6ix9ine get out, he's going to do the first interview he's going to do is a debriefing from the agency, which put him on, and they're gonna go ahead and give him that money that he owed for fucking up the rap game. But it was already fucked up. But again, like I say, this is the shit we pray. That's the culture that you can just infiltrate and let anybody in because they throw on a fucking Yankees cap and who was the dude that gave all A's? DJ HIV, DJ Kid, whatever his name is. And just because you dress a certain way and now you fall in love and it's brainwashing, like you said. But what he said about the housekeeper and how the other housekeepers try to
Dan
keep you
Strong
quiet.
donated
So,
$5. I'd call in, but I didn't see the interview. Sounds like Kanye was right.
man, absolutely, Dad. If you get a chance, I recommend it. I recommend everyone. And if you didn't like the Kanye Trump stuff, if you did, like, if you really listen to it with honest appeal, I'm gonna tell you something. Arian Foster's off my list, man. Like, not like. And again, you gotta like people for what they do. And I always love Arian Foster, the running back. But Arian Foster's kind of a guy. You know, he has an opinion on a lot of stuff. But he's one of those overly intellectual, overly philosophical. And I love Arian Foster, and I love a lot of his stuff, but, you know, he's like, oh, he's just talking about a straw man, because Kanye talked about, you know, we as black people sit here and say, oh, you know, F the white man and do all this stuff, but then what's the first thing you want to do? You want to go buy foreigns and buy expensive clothes and go do all this other shit. And he talked about the brainwashing. You know what I'm saying? He's like, so you saying all this stuff, you're contradicting yourself. And he talked about, you know, the victim mentality and all that, and oh, you know, that's straw man stuff. And again, whatever. Again, it's like there's certain people who are going to keep you in that, to try to keep you in that cycle of that mentality. As soon as you start venturing off, no, you can't do that, you can't say that. Live your own fucking life. Again, nobody else's opinion really matters, because your life is your lens, your perspective, your views, and if it's true to you, it's fucking real. And that's the thing. We share this collective experience, but it's not the same experience. It's through a different set of lenses. Me being, you know, me having, you know, 80% of the same traits as somebody else, as the next black man, but maybe being a little bit taller, a little bit wider, changes my perspective, changes my view, changes the way I'm viewed and approached. It could be the same. I could be the exact same identity, or have everything be the same, and the only difference is it's a white guy with long hair or dreads. Different views. Everything else is the same, but different fucking views. You know what I'm saying? It's like we share this collective identity, but the little differences in us is going to change the experience. As much as we want to all say, oh, we're going through the same shit. Oh, we're all doing, yeah, but no. So your opinions are your opinions, but you really don't have a place. And even me, because I do it from time to time, and that's why I like to listen. That's why I like to hear people, and I share my thoughts. I can't say you're wrong about something. I ask a lot of questions. Y'all do notice that. Like, I try my best, and I say, oh, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about this, unless you're trying to say something that pertains to me personally. But your experience will not be my experience, no matter what it is. We could be two brothers growing up in the same household. We could be a family. The experience is not going to be the same. It's always going to be a difference. Mike Rock, you're absolutely right. Let me switch chairs. Let me get into my no mansplaining chair. Because I'm mansplaining. I wish I would do some shit like that. Real quick, let me run down there. He said, he talked about the N-word and what's the name, telling him about being a racist. He said, I'd rather somebody call me an N-word to my face, a nigga to my face, than sign me to a lifetime deal on the 250th page of a contract that I can't see. So basically saying, I'd rather you be blind. I've said that. Rather you be overt than covert. So I know what I'm working with. I know who I'm working with, who I'm dealing with, as opposed to somebody who's trying to fraudulently. Oh, I didn't put the thing up. As opposed to somebody who's trying to fraudulently play under the guise of, you know, being my friend or trying to help me, but you really fucking me over. They said that's the real stuff you got to be worried about. These, like I said, these 360 deals and all this. You know, he talks about the music and all that other shit. But yet people get mad about these words. Who gives a fuck about the words? Okay, hey. Cool, you let me know how you feel. I'm not trying to change you. I don't think everybody needs to love everybody as much as I love, what's that fucking movie? God damn it, with Jackie Moon. If I can remember everything about the movie but the goddamn name. Semi-Pro. And as much as I love all that, everybody ain't gonna love everybody. It is what it is. I think I try to be cool and kosher with everybody, but hey, everybody's not gonna like me, and I accept. I don't give a fuck. You know, and it's like, I know as long as I feel the integrity within myself, I have nothing else to worry about. And I think people just need to operate like that. If a motherfucker don't like you, it's not your job to try to change me. Well, you know, you don't like me. Well, fuck you. Okay, cool. Like, keep it pushing. So a couple of billion other people that you can kick it with. Talk about financial freedom. He said to him there's two freedoms. There's financial freedom and then there's freedom from a higher power. Now, I know everybody's not going to agree with that because everybody has different, you know, religious views and spiritual views or whatever you want to call it. But, you know, it just kind of is what it is. Like I said, I see where he was going with that. And I find it interesting and I find it intriguing. I think that's just something that would have to be explored, maybe just like a little bit more. Let me see. Then he said, "Oh shit, my bad, Joe. I apologize." And he said something about, he was talking about that he was out there building homes for the hurricane. He's talking about Haiti and some other places. And he's like, people always have something to say and complain about with all these things, but he's like, hey, y'all are fucking, y'all got the new iPhones, you got all this stuff. He's like, you could be dedicating your energy towards better stuff, but you choose to be a part of the thing because you're the one buying this stuff, you're the one doing all this other stuff. So as much as you're complaining, you are a part of the problem. And I'm getting down to the last couple of things here, then I will talk about racist math. I want to talk about that so bad. Yeah, okay, there we go. And he asked the big boy, well, where we get that old Kanye from? He talked about all the changes and stuff that he's doing. But he's like, will we ever get that old Kanye? Will we ever get that old, from? He's like, he don't even really perform those old songs anymore because of, he's changed. He's like, I don't want to talk about, you my favorite hoe and all this other shit. Like, he's like, that's not me anymore, so I don't want to do that. So he's like, he's like, do you ever go into the fucking iPhone store and ask for the old fucking iPhone 4? Do you ask for the iPod 4? He's like, no, nobody wants it. If you want to go get on eBay, go buy that old shit. But you're not going to go to the Apple store and get that shit. So what you're getting from me is the new shit. You're going to get the new Kanye. You're going to get the new Ye. And I respect that. That's what it should be. People don't always follow you on your journey, your growth, your development. Still people can fuck with you for that old shit. Well, hey, keep listening to that old shit, because you're not growing doesn't mean that I should be stagnant. That's kind of what I took from that. And then he said something again. Like I said, me not being a very religious person, I still found it very interesting. He said people who say that they have a different relationship with Jesus. He said some people sit there and say, oh, well, my relationship with God is different. My relationship with Jesus is different than, what it says in whatever text or whatever you're choosing. And I found that really interesting because he said that the reason people will say that is because they don't want to address the sins that they're still dealing in. And I thought about that. And I thought about people I've known that have said that. And that seems to be quite true. Like, I know a lot of people who say, well, I do things a little different. I do this a little differently. And it is what it is. We all have sins. And again, we all have issues that, whether you are a believer, whether you are atheist, whether you are agnostic, whether you are whatever you got going on, you got to deal with it, man. So there's that. I found that very interesting. Now, that was a Kanye interview. I want to talk about the soft bigotry of low expectations. That's a phrase that I've learned within the last few months. And niggas, y'all better learn that shit. Minorities, you better learn that shit. Because that's what certain groups of people feel about you, right? Dreamer, what's the motherfucking deal, man? Exactly. It's a commitment means you got to be all in. And some people, they want to dab their toe in the water. Some people kind of want to be on the brink, but they don't necessarily want to do all of everything that it does that it takes to be that, right? But in Washington, what they're saying now, they did a report. There's a school board. I forgot exactly the name of the ESA, Ethnic Studies Association Committee, something crazy, right? It is something crazy. What? Where is Angela? Did I see this right? Oklahoma lost to Kansas State. Is this true? Shout out to INF Storms, man. I happen to miss that. I've been kind of out and about today. Wow, interesting. Let's go Astros. But again, people will throw you these softballs and say, hey, you're just, the reason why you're not succeeding is because this was designed against you. This was designed to hold you back. This was designed to stop you from, being a man. Look, There is no system educationally that's holding back. There is no what's the shit called, standardized testing that is holding you back. Like I told y'all, I was in gifted and talented classes. I made the best grades in my fucking classes. Never studied. Was a pretty shitty student. And them fucking standardized tests, they were the easiest fucking things to do. So to sit here and say, oh, standardized tests, they're racist. No, you just don't study. You just have, maybe you learn differently, or maybe you're not putting in the work or whatever. Oh, well, we don't disagree. I disagree. Because I was the only black kid in my class. There was like 3 Hispanic kids. Everybody else, wait, no, two Asians. I don't know if they were Chinese or Japanese. I'm sure they're rich now. And I did better than everybody. And I know them Asian kids was working hard because their parents would have whooped their ass if they didn't. Now, of course, it gets to a point where they say that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And so it got to a point where, it is what it is, right? I stopped giving a fuck. I stopped really, I got work. I was doing all kind of derelict ass shit and not going to school and whatever else. It is what it is. But even then, when you come in and you give me a multiple choice, some type of standardized test, whatever, it would ace it. It's not that hard. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't difficult. It's about being focused. It's about learning. And again, you may have issues outside of school. There are things that can detract from your ability to learn, where your mind is focused. When you have a more stable home environment, maybe versus a more chaotic home environment, that may impact things. So things outside. But there's no way you're going to sit here and tell me that. And this is why I say this, because when you say, well, standardized testing is designed against you. So you're just telling me that niggas is dumber than other people, or minorities or whoever are dumber than other people? That's basically what you're saying. And I refuse to believe that shit. Like, you can't sell me that shit. It just takes a certain level of effort, or you just maybe have to tweak the way you learn. It may be a little different. All kind of people learn differently. There's hands-on. There's auditory. Some people are visual. Some people can just see it, figure it out. Some people got to get hands-on, tweak a little bit, got it. Some people can just hear what you're talking about and put it together. But you just have to learn the way you learn. And I think what happens is, in a lot of lower income schools, a lot of schools that may not get the funding and resource, they may try to funnel you in one way. And if they don't have the teachers who are equipped with the tools to teach you, then now they send you to special ed, where they just go on again, soft bigotry of low expectations. Oh, this is good for you. This is good as you can get. This is good for you. When in reality, you're much better than that. But they're telling you you're dumb. They're finding ways of telling you that they think you're stupid, but using fancy wording, using fancy terminology. And then when niggas, or not, when black people buy into this shit and then start selling it to their own people, see, the racism is why you're not succeeding. Man, miss me with that fucking bullshit. You're not succeeding because you're not trying hard enough. And math is universal. Math is fucking universal. So how is it racist? Math is the same here in Texas as in Cali. I mean, we can talk about what's the shit? I can't fucking Common Core and all that other stuff. But math is math. Numbers are numbers. You plug it into the formula, it's going to work. From here to New York to wherever else, math is universal. You can take that shit overseas. Yeah, they may use the what is it, empirical or whatever, and we use the empirical and they use the metric or whatever it is. But still, that's just changing the units. Outside of that, math is unifucking-versal. And so to say some dumb shit like this, again, you're allowing people to say the bar is too high, or make excuses for not achieving. Well, it's because, I was failing pre-algebra because, the number 3 is really related to the K's, the 3K, KKK. And so I would get triggered when I see it. And so I couldn't do math problems with the number 3 in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. You got to know your history about the math. So it's like, come on, man, like get the fuck out of here with that shit. But like I say, there's an article about that. I'm gonna probably do something a little bit more of a deep dive on it. I've been talking for a long time. I'm turning up for a long time. I've been smoking gas for a long time. Man, I wish I gotta find that video. That's the greatest fucking Instagram. That's the greatest Instagram song ever. Give me a second, man. Let me boot up this line. Everything's good. Everything's feeling fine. Again, like I said, I hope everything in your world is excellent. I hope everybody that you love is doing well. And if not, my prayers and thoughts go out to you and you're familiar. Because yeah, straight up, if math is racist, how these dope boys make money? Like, what's going on with that? The numbers, these numbers, they fucking me up. This calculator, it's racist. This solar powered calculator is oppressing me. Um, oh my god, if y'all would just if y'all just knew some of the stupidest shit that when I say these things and the visuals that pop up in my head when I say this shit. Oh my god, it fucking I kill myself sometimes. Let me get this tooted and booted bad. Let me get into the system here. While I'm doing that, I'm going to take a sip of my scissor while I'm off camera. Well, y'all ain't gonna let y'all see me sipping my juice. Do do do. Dun, dun, you want to love me sexy. If you've never seen Semi-Pro, that's a great song. It's not even a real song. Get the funk out of my face and love me sexy. I know they were made for that goddamn movie, but those are hood classics. If you don't know your music, son, those are hood classics. B, you better get on your shit, B. But that's what I'm saying. Like, math is everything. Motherfucker gonna sit here and tell you math is racist. You've never seen a black carpenter. You've never seen a black constructor. I mean, math is required to do any and every fucking thing. So you're telling me that somehow these niggas just magically got jobs? Like, math is every now. If a nigga working at Mickey D's, then especially these new age niggas. I'm telling you. Let me tell y'all when I was done, son. I'm gonna tell y'all when I was done with this whole shit. When I started seeing that the machines started giving out like the change automatically, that's when I knew we were headed for a downfall. Like, I'm like, this country just got real fucked. Like, you can't open the drawer and give correct change. Like, have you ever seen somebody struggle? Like, say you're fucking whatever. Say you go and get some food or something, and say you're sitting up and open the line right up this. Say your food was like $7.52, right? And you've given somebody a 10, 2 quarters and 2 pennies. You give them $10.52, and they struggle with figuring out the change. Have you ever seen some shit like simple shit? Like, I'm actually making it easier for you, and they still struggle with figuring out. That's where we are now, And I'm not saying I'm fucking Einstein, okay? But they're just basic numbers you should easily be fucking up on your own some. And yeah, see, culture, what happened is the first time I ever had to write numbers, it was on white paper. And that's when I felt violated. You know what I'm saying? That's when I felt like I was being culturally appropriated. I didn't even have a black chalkboard to write on. It was green. Right? You know what I'm saying? That's oppression right there. Why couldn't I use manila paper? What was wrong with that? It was good for me writing my alphabet. I couldn't write my numbers on manila paper. What's up with that? Let me stop. Bow. Denline active. Let's get it. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
It's Belle. You have no idea how many times I've gotten knocked off this line tonight and had to start over my calling.
Well, I apologize for that. What's on your mind, Miss Belle?
I'm telling you, you long in the mouth for talking tonight, huh?
Yes, there's a lot to talk about. I'm oppressed and I'm upset, and I have to speak my piece.
Absolutely. I have a limited what I want to say about Kanye because I don't know a lot about his rap stuff, but I do have to give it to him as being a Renaissance kind of man. He's always got a job. He's always doing something, and he's always making money. So for that, I got to give him that. I'm not a huge fan of the rap stuff. I'm more your old school R&B and slow jams and all that. But his clothing line's not too bad. He's intellectual, but he's still all over the place all the time.
So I got a question, Miss Bell. So when you say more
Sure.
old school R&B, would you like some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, a Lil Anita?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a little older than me. I mean, I'm like Johnny Gill, New Edition. You know, it varies. I mean, even Brandy, when she was starting out. Not huge on Ray J, but, you know, it is what it is. Like Usher and I'm trying to think. It's going back a little bit, but Luther Vandross is still, you know, pretty darn good. So that sort of generation aspect of it. I don't think that the music has the quality across the board that it ever has. And I'm not just talking about rap music. I'm not talking about country music. I'm not talking about pop music. I'm talking about across the board. You might get a one in a haystack and a million on each of these levels, but most of it is just, there's just not something that stands out to me lately in the last, like, maybe 5 or 6 years as far as music goes. I did like the country music song. I know it was kind of whack. The one with, what were we talking about? Is it Lil Nas X? Is that who we were discussing? Yeah, but it was a collaboration with somebody else. I can't remember who the country star was, but not really the point. I liked it because it was different, not because of questioning Lil Nas X's sexuality, but just for the fact that it was a crossover. I also remember when Run DMC and Aerosmith did a song together. You know, and you're talking, that was back in the 80s. So there's all kinds of stuff I like that. The math stuff, I didn't read the article, so I can't really comment on it. But unlike most people, I suck at math. So I don't have a perspective to see it in a different culture that way. I just know that I'm white and I still suck at math. So I don't see that part of it being... Do you remember what part in that article that allowed you to believe it was either racist or biased or bigoted?
Basically, what they were saying is because they did a breakdown and did a report. I guess they were analyzing some of the teachings or how students were being taught in that school district. And basically, they kind of got into historical aspects of why they were saying why the math was difficult or why it was disadvantageous to minority students, which because I guess they went into the history of things. And to me, again, like they didn't, the article itself didn't break down the report. And I'm not sure if the report is actually publicly available. If it is, I definitely would like to check it out. But yeah, I mean, they made small references to, you know, what the report was saying. And again, there was like 4 sections, and they were just kind of breaking down as to why it was disadvantageous to minority students or ethnic students or however you want to identify it.
Now, I do find that interesting because I remember decades ago that they were talking about like SATs and PSATs were slighted or slated towards white students rather than any other culture because the questions that were asked on those particular tests. So I find it interesting that 20 years later they're doing it in a different subject, not so much subject, but in a different reference. The other question is when isn't it just difficult for anybody? Why does there always have to be some... All right, let me say this as being the naive white person because you know I'm going to go there. Sometimes it isn't about race. Sometimes it's just people just don't have the answers. And it's hard for me to see that it would... I'm not a racist person. I don't roll like that. So it makes it hard for me to look at some of the things that can be seen as prejudiced. But what I get frustrated with is the race card getting thrown so much that it's almost an automatic rather than it being, we really need to make sure that this is what it is because You know, it's like checking your facts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing to me. Like I say, I think it's a lazy way of avoiding situations. You know, instead of really looking into what's going on in certain. I mean, I guess it depends on what the scenario is. It's easy to say, well, you know, because this or because of that, it's a racial issue. That's why it doesn't work. And so again, it's like we can talk about history. We can talk about all those things, and that's great.
Right, and please don't misunderstand me. I know that there's still racism, and I know that there's still a ton more forward that we need to move into equality of things. I'm not that naive. I just don't think that the race card needs to be thrown on it, just like I don't think LGBT needs to be thrown on it, just like I don't think, you know, white folks need to throw their weight around on everything either. It's the fact that, like you said, it's a check and balance system. And when one thing's used a little too much, it doesn't have the power that it would have used at crucial times rather than on a regular basis to make a point. And that's just, I see that on all kinds of different things, not just black or white or gay and lesbian or LGBT alphabet soup community or, you know, any of the other cultures. I just think that sometimes when you wear one card out, it doesn't have the power that it used to.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because if you use it for everything, then it makes nothing valid. Because I mean, when you get tired, it gets to a point where, and that's kind of I think where we are, where we're sitting and saying everything is racist. There are actual racist events, and maybe my perspective is, look, because we call a lot of people racist, and we say, oh, that's, you know, look, a real racist is gonna get active with you, and it's gonna be well known. They're not gonna have any qualms about hiding it. Now, you may have people who say things that are racially based, or they may be prejudiced, or whatever you want to call it. That's not really a thing. But I think that people just start throwing us terms: Nazi, racist, racism. This is you know, this and that. And again, like once it's gotten to the point where something is neutral as math is considered racist, I mean, how much further can you go at that point? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I agree with you. On a different note, I do want to say that I believe that everybody has prejudice in them because of the experiences from human nature that we all come from.
Yes.
It's not one particular person over another. I think that we all come to the table with prejudging things because of our life experiences. And it makes us all a little prejudiced. You've had experiences that I haven't had. I've had experiences that you haven't had. It doesn't mean that we can't, like you said, come to the table and agree to disagree at times. But hopefully to make it a better situation. And that's one of the things, actually, honestly, I love about the Den, is that I can disagree with some of the girls in the Den, and it doesn't mean that I don't completely respect them. I just may not agree with the answer that they're giving. Or 90% of the time, they don't agree with me because I'm the white girl. And I'm all right with that, too, because I'll own it. But the fact that we are able to have these community conversations, whether it's the majority black, whether it's diverse, whatever, for the fact that we're all getting it out is pretty damn awesome. And pretty much all I got tonight. But yeah, as far as the music goes, and I know I've said this before, but the fact is deep rhythm and blues, I mean, we're talking going back to something Johnson. And you probably would know it. It's blues man back in the day. That was how a lot of the country, twangy country stars got started, was really deep R&B blues players collaborated with them. And that's how white country music became popular in this country. Did you know that?
Yeah, I remember there's a lot of the music. Some of the rock and roll had roots in the blues. They had I want to say the Beatles were very, very big blues fans, and
but that was far later. I'm talking about like the 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Okay. No, when there's
but anyway, that's too far back for all of you, and even including me, but I just kind of want to throw that little tidbit out there, is that there's been collaborations of black and white music for generations. And so I like the fact that people will keep purist to what they have, and I like the fact that people will change it up in order to do something new. So, anyway, that's kind of what I got. Any other questions?
No, that's all I got. But if you have a chance, you should check out that interview just to get a little bit more familiar with, with Kanye. Even if you don't really care for the music, I think it's good to kind of see some of the insights on what he has and to understand some of the changes that he's gone through. I think you would enjoy it.
I just haven't experienced it. Doesn't mean I like it or don't like it. I just haven't had the opportunity to experience it yet, and I'm willing to be open to that.
Okay.
So that's cool. Yeah, and I will read the article. All right, then. So I'm good for Saturday night, and hopefully this will start everything out, and we'll have a lot of good calls coming in.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, thank you for getting the party started. The bell has rung. Yep. Class is in session.
All right, night.
All right, appreciate it, Ms. Bell. All right. I would not want to hear any song you ever made, Female Pimp. You'd probably be making that hyphy shit. You on that sound like E40 and what's that other goofy nigga named Blueface on Sherm. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Hey, it's your favorite moderator.
Hello, the shark, baby shark. How you doing this evening? That's a terrible thing. Fuck the Nationals. How are you doing this evening, Miss Rashida?
I'm good. Did you give me my early bird pistachio?
I'm checking my pistachio account. It look like it say like you was paid. You know what I'm saying? Paid in full on the pistachios.
I didn't see
them.
I didn't see them.
I don't mean.
Have to get another pay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to holler at the pistachio accountant and get that checked out. But I definitely believe that you were properly paid in pistachios previously.
Before I get to the Kanye thing, I want to say a few things about racism.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think some people do use the race card a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? That is a go-to thing. Mm-hmm. But who am I to say that something wasn't racist for somebody that I didn't experience? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's not my experience, so I'm really on the outside looking in.
Yes.
And also, it's a lot easier for people that's not the target of racism to not see it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yes.
When you don't feel that the act of the racism all the time, then you do become a little blinded to it, almost oblivious.
So do you think that works for black people as well? I mean, if you just have had a life where you haven't experienced racism, that you wouldn't think that it would be as prevalent as some people say it is?
Exactly. It's like I have plenty of, I've already said this before, plenty of family that come from the South that experience real racism. So their view and my view of racism is like totally different. You know what I mean? Like, I can't say that I haven't experienced some racism, but it wasn't to their extent. So they're a little more sensitive to things.
Okay. So would you say?
Who am I to tell them that's not what they're experiencing?
But would you say that you've experienced mathematically calculated racism?
No.
Do you believe that that's a thing? Do you think that math can be racist?
No, it's a subject that you learn in school. Yeah, okay. But what I do want to say, I don't even know if I should really say this.
Say it.
But I've noticed that when I'm in a classroom with my peers, I'm on the upper end of the intelligent people. But when I'm put in a more diverse setting, I'm not. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, why that is. You know what I mean? Like, are
Uh,
they getting the education they need somewhere else or at home or,
I think that's it. Honestly, in my opinion, and to be truthful, is I don't think we value education, or let me put it properly, like you put it, our peers in our peer group
hmm
value education. Because just think about it, how many of your peers do you know that when they got home that their parents enforced, immediately checking and doing that homework, or they even followed up, or they worked with them, or they encouraged extracurricular educational activities or anything like that, and help them advance on certain subjects at home, or did they fully rely on the school system? Whereas you have in some more diverse arenas, especially if Asians are involved, and I love the Asian folks. They don't play that shit. They gonna make you gonna work. That shit is prime. Especially those people who've come from other countries the most, because they know what the gift of education is. They're going to put extra effort and extra work into that. You're going to take full advantage of that. You're going to be ahead of the game. And I could say early on for myself, and I think this is what helped me, is my pops was
hmm
not about them jokes. He was I was in kindergarten. If I would make an erase mark, and this was actually prior to me going to school, because I was reading before I went to school. Taught myself how to read, actually, because my parents didn't think I could read, and I went up there and I started reading them books. Like, they was like, "Oh, you want us to read? You want us to read this book?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm finna read this book." And they was like, "Yeah, you can't." And I bust them down. But anyway, but my pops would, like I'm making them jokes about Manila paper, but he would have me
hmm
writing my alphabet before I ever went to school. Proper form, good handwriting. If I made an erase mark, he would crumble that shit up, start over. You know, and this is and even though it was strict and it was what it was, but most people don't care. Most people these days, especially, will put them in front of the TV or go outside and play. It's not there's not that reinforcement to the education. That we're not valuing the education. So when you're getting more exposure to that, the more diverse groups that
hmm
are getting more exposure to that, things that may be more
hmm
complicated for our peer group is commonplace or minimal to them, because they put in more work and put in more effort.
Sometimes, sometimes the home environment does play a role in it because I know for me, as being one of the older kids, I either had to help the younger kids when I was done, because your parent might be at work or something like that, or you just had to be more independent in your study. And you didn't even have your own room. You didn't have that peace and quiet. Like a lot of those people have their own room. They go in there, quiet place to study or whatever. But sometimes, like in my peer group, it was a lot of kids in the house running around and everything, and you didn't have that peace, unless you stayed after school and did your homework in the library or something like that. But you couldn't always do that because you had to get home and help. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of different things that factor into why people can't can't do the same as other people.
Yeah.
But
But again, I think a lot of that, though, and that's why I say, and people take it as being, maybe cold. But if we want to do better, you're in a situation where you're surrounded and you see what the outcome is if you do what everybody else is doing.
mhm,
That's why you have to differentiate. That's why you have to go above and beyond. And yes, we may all have come from certain circumstances that put you at a disadvantage, but you got to figure out ways to overcome those things, especially if you want that next generation to be better. And I think that's a parent's job, is to put your children in the best situation possible. But we kind of got into a lot of that last night. Why parents are becoming parents? It's not always for the benefit of the kids. It's for other reasons. But I think that's where it has to go. And it may be, unfortunate, it may be more difficult if you feel that way. But you got to do
and I
it.
think we put too much focus on sports too instead of
Absolutely,
education.
absolutely. I mean, that's man. Look, that's a whole topic in itself, because hey, and that's
We
kind
want
of
baby boy, we want baby boy to play basketball to get us out the hood, or we
ex,
want baby
ex,
boy to play football to get us out the hood.
preach
So we
exactly.
try to sometimes we focus more on that side that might be gifted in sports than the classroom side.
Yeah, he can't read, but he can run a route. You know what I'm saying? And that's absolutely it. The athletically gifted child. We care more about the kid who can maybe have that career. We push entertainment over education. I mean,
and dance and all the
yeah,
other kind of stuff too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I think that should be that's a whole nother show.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna
definitely.
get back to you. We can talk about it. I could talk about that for hours and hours. Yeah.
And put that in the notes. We're gonna talk about that soon. Okay.
I want to share the really light on Kanye. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people just think he came out of nowhere and just dropped this album. Kanye, first of all, been working for years in the music industry. Day before he dropped the college dropout in 2006. You know what I'm saying? He had been doing his mixtape. Kanye West was a hustler out there in the streets of Chicago.
Oh yeah, that's right. He from Chi-Town.
Oh, most definitely. He represents. And yeah, he was hard. There was another rapper that was pretty close to him, Twisted.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't make it to that level Kanye made it too, but you know, he's very talented too.
Yeah, Twisted. Yeah, Twisted was popular. Twisted was popular down here though. That's why I say I don't. And he what was that Adrenaline Rush, and he had another one that were very good albums.
He's very hard working. But yeah, Kanye West got some big breaks. You know, he was able. Kanye West was also a writer. He wrote a lot of stuff for people and producers. You know, so he got big breaks and everything. So yeah, Kanye West was a hard worker. Things wasn't just music to him.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because I remember him saying that. That's a brief for a second, you can barely hear. Let me know if that sounds better. I remember him talking about he locked himself. He would lock himself in a room till he made 5 or 10 beats every day, or in the basement or whatever.
Right.
You know, and that was like after work. That was after doing whatever else he had to do. And so I commend him.
Right.
I mean, he went hard. Yeah.
And people think he's crazy. He's not crazy.
No.
Everything he does is calculated.
Yeah.
Y'all really think he running around wearing a red hat because he's crazy? No, that's calculated. He said that thing about slavery, calculated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything he does, he thinks about it. Running up there on stage to say that, what he said to that lady about Beyonce, everything he does is for a reason. I don't understand why people just think he's crazy.
Yeah.
And for anybody that really believes that Kim Kardashian really is interested in freeing, I'm going to call them slaves. I mean, freeing inmates, you know what I mean? It's crazy. You got to know Kanye behind it. But he knew that if he tried to do it, it probably wouldn't go over well. But see, they got her up there like she the face of everything. You know, she look all nice and innocent, you know. But, you know, he's really about helping his people.
Yeah.
Even though people want to say he's a turncoat, he's this and he's that. He the one told y'all George Bush don't give a damn about black people. And, you know, he still comes back to Chicago and does work in the inner city that a lot of people don't even know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when people sit up there and try to talk bad about him and this and that, you don't understand. Sometimes you got to align with the enemy to get where you going. Not the enemy, I don't want to say it like that, but you have to, how you say it, like align with people in power.
Well, see, that was my thing with like the situation with Trump, and everybody was mad at him going holler at Trump. But when you go up there and really listen to the context of what he was talking about, he was trying to bring industry back to Chicago. You know why? Because what does that do? That brings jobs. That keeps little niggas out the streets because they go and get some sustained employment. That keeps fathers in the homes. They're able to sustain instead of selling dope or whatever they want to call whatever they out there doing to get on. When you have a legitimate job, you have some sense of pride. You have some sense of self-worth, or whatever it may be. And people was mad at him because he went and tried to use that platform to help to help the city out because he has love for Chicago. Like I can't be mad at that.
He put down on the store to help black people, and they don't even see it. Because if he was really express his real feelings about Trump, I'm not saying that he has negative feeling. But if he did, how far you think Kim Kardashian would get with her prison release program and all that other kind of stuff?
That's what I'm saying. But my thing is, so is it because we've talked about this before, you know, why do people overlook the results?
You man them actually looking in your clothes. You ain't seeing no black people in them.
Man, I'm not buying them. But shout out to whoever
Okay.
is buying them.
But if he went out there saying white people this and white people are oppressors, and he has to say shit that's gonna put them at ease and become Kanye. You know what I'm saying? In order to get that money. And you know what? I shouldn't even be dropping his game right now because a lot of y'all listen.
He gonna sue
you know
you.
what? I don't even know what I'm talking about just to get everything I just said. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of people call him Kanye and everything, you know. But at the end of the day, he's still for black people. But that's all that matters. But he has to do his stuff behind the scenes because where he generating the money from, if he really came out and said how he really felt and everything, he wouldn't have the resources he had. Because at some point, you have to cross over to get that big money. I don't care what nobody says. Just relying on the support of black people ain't going to get it.
I agree.
You can say what you want to say, but it is what it is. You got to have some kind of crossover up here. It is what it is.
Yeah. You got people mad at him because he did what you would perceive, I guess, to be a Christian now because he's not doing, the music that he was doing. You got people, again, like he was saying, it doesn't matter because no matter what you do, people going to turn on you.
But who is in his choir, though? Who is in his choir? Who does he employ as his choir? Look at that choir. Right.
Yeah, they was mad at what he said. He talked about
full of black people. Full of black people.
Let's see, they was mad at Dr. Umar because he was out there having sex, man. So that's what I'm saying. People gonna be mad at you no matter what you do. So that's the thing, and it is what that's the thing. No matter what it is, somebody is going to attack you. Somebody's going to try to shut you down for having an opinion because it's not going with the norm. And again,
because they don't understand.
Yeah,
you can't help black people by being a poor black person.
Exactly.
That's the best way. I think Steve Harvey said that. The best way you can help poor people is to not be one of them.
Exactly, and that's because what can
people sit up there and they talk all that shit about food, especially black people. They the worst people to talk about their own people, but still behind the scenes, Steve's still doing what he can to help black people. You know what I'm saying?
Because my thing is this. How many people helping themselves get out the projects? If you who's buying from other people in the project? Yeah, you mean let's just some Kool-Aid and candy. Who's really helping each other? You're not. And again, if you have that mentality, you're not coming up out of that. You have to sell to people with money. You have to promote to people who have the resources to do that. And again, and if you are, like you said, if you are in the project and you making some sales, you sell too much, them niggas finna come knocking on your door because they ain't got it, so they want what you got. So again, it's like
you making too much money at the Kool-Aid stand, they trying to come rob.
Exactly, and that's the crazy shit about it. But I'm not mad at him for him being himself, and that's my thing about it is as long as he's genuine and passionate about whatever it is that he's about. I cannot hate a man for living in his truth, you know. Again, now if he was trying to replicate and be some media created thing, he talked about kind of going through that, not being himself, and coming full circle of who he was.
Now come on. Right, him and Kim Kardashian was seen at a McDonald's. That brother is still who he is. But he has to put on the show to get more so of what. Like, let's say he didn't never come over. He didn't never leave. How can he help us if he didn't never leave the branch off and able to get that wealth to help, you know, come back and do things in the city? He never forgot about his city.
Yeah.
But just because he don't sit up there and boast and brag about what he do don't mean he's not doing nothing.
I agree. I agree.
Because he don't want to get robbed and hurt and everything. You know, sometimes people come back to the city, they get hurt and everything.
Yeah.
He probably want to do more of his stuff, you know, low key and everything, which is probably for the best.
Yeah. And I mean,
he don't want to put his family in danger coming to Chicago trying to do this and you know what I'm saying?
Because all it takes is one. It only take one fucking hater. That's all it takes is one hater. Because like I said, we can look at Nip and all the great shit this man that changed, made progress that Nipsey did. All the shit that he was doing for the schools, trying to work, you know, with the law enforcement, trying to do everything that he was doing, great shit. And it took one raggedy ass, funky, no nothing having ass nigga to hate what you got. And so I can't blame, you know, niggas for sliding out, man. You know, it is what it is.
You supposed to slide out. Hell, it's dangerous. Shit, the city is dangerous. Shit.
Yeah.
It's dangerous for poor people. Shit, you know it's dangerous for rich people.
Yeah. That's the thing.
When Donald Trump comes through the city, he be telling his driver, make sure he in a bulletproof car and everything.
You better ride shit. If the rapper's riding bulletproof, the president better be riding bulletproof.
Right. Shit. That's how it goes. Hell, you don't get rich and stay in the hood. You get rich and get out the hood.
Yeah. I agree, man. I agree.
Ain't shit wrong with creating a program and writing a big check to help them shit. And if you come down to the city, hell, ain't shit wrong with you bringing your security, which is for your own safety and your family safety.
Exactly. You know, again.
That don't mean you're not in touch. That means you got good sense.
Well, like I said, it only takes when you know worldwide. Again, you have to protect it because again, it could be somebody showing love. They get a little too crazy because they, you know, I mean, it is what it is. It's just it is what it is. Like I don't fault anybody. I mean, you once you get to a certain level, you have to. It is what it is. You know, niggas now when you out there doing that 6ix9ine shit, that's a different thing because you asking for some shit. But if you just trying to be you, again, like I say, you got to have somebody with you. Otherwise, it's gonna be an issue.
Most definitely. You're not looking for trouble, but you also supposed to, you know, have your senses about you and realize, you know, these people don't look at you as one of them no more, necessarily.
Yeah. I agree. They want what you got. People want, man, look, nigga think you got it. You can be their next door neighbor. Right. They will definitely come for you. And so it is what it is.
They used to do come to the schools and do free concerts or something for the kids and stuff. And wearing they big chains, and they start pulling them off the stage and robbing them and taking their chains and jewelry. You don't wear that kind of expensive shit in the hood, thinking ain't nobody gonna get you. You know, crazy shit like that happens. You know. You just can't do everything you want to do. You gotta think and be smart. Hello?
Yeah, I agree. I'm eating a little piece of a granola bar. I ain't want y'all to hear me.
You eating healthy. That's good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the granola bar with the chocolate chips in it, so it ain't that healthy.
You should try the chocolate chips with the peanut butter. That's the good one.
Matter of fact, this is one of them.
That's the only way. You know what? That's the only way I can eat the granola bars with something in it, like.
Yeah, this is the mixed kind because it's got chocolate chip and the peanut butter chocolate. I think the one I'm eating now, this is a peanut butter chocolate chip one because it's got the little chewy mix box.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, look out. Y'all don't pay me no mind. Shut up, Damari, before I take your wrench, nigga. This ain't soft sports.
I don't know why you gave it that shit. Hey, B, how you doing?
And that's the thing, man. I mean, that's the thing, and I can't fault nobody because you don't know who it is. You don't know who's showing you love. You don't know who's showing you hate. When you're in the hood, you know what I'm saying? You go out there thinking it's all love. You know, you get your head too big. Yeah, it's all love when you broke, and you doing stuff for free, and you local. You know, it's all love. But then when you really start sliding and you going this place and that place, you know, niggas want what you got. Niggas give a fuck. They value your materials more than they value you. And that's just it.
Yeah. And this the last little story I'm gonna tell you. Then I'm gonna let somebody else slide in. Well, thank you, Miss Bell. You had a good call too. Um, it was a young man, and he inherited, I would say, about $1 million when he turned 18. And like, I don't know how everybody knew his business, but they did. You know what I mean? And so he had moved out into the suburbs, right? But he grew up in the hood, right? Why was he still coming back to the hood?
Because people get attacked. Like, that's the thing. I think a lot of people, and there are some people who are able to get up out the hood, but I think there's a issue with the comfort zone. Like, because you in the hood, ain't nobody gonna judge you for the shit you do. But you feel like you move somewhere else that may be more affluent or a little bit better off, you may not feel comfortable in that element. Oh, well, this is a different community or this diversity. They gonna look at me this way, or they gonna look at me that way. Man, look, once you done got enough money, somebody know you got something, they looking at you different in the hood. They was looking at you as a friend. Now you looking like food because
You want to know what happened to me?
Oh,
I was sitting downstairs. Actually, I was across the street at my neighbor house, and I seen him, you know, because he knew to come riding through there with his nice little car, whatever. Mm-hmm. Everybody knew, you know, he was $1 million man or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so he had actually parked on my street and was talking to people, you know, his homeboys or whatever. Mm-hmm. He was there about 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then I see this guy coming from the corner, right? I ain't paying too much attention. He had a hood on, right? Mm-hmm. And then he gets close to the guy car. He pull out a big ass gun. I don't know what happened after that, because I told my neighbor to go down trying to get to their house.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fucked up. It's funny, but it's fucked up.
They set him up.
Yeah, they said
it had to be somebody.
His homeboys set him up. And they one his homeboys. You got money. We still here. You get to go somewhere else tonight. We still dealing with what's going on out here. We envious. So yeah. Come on, man. What's up, man? What's this all good? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh man, I just got a little text real quick. Let me, you know, and they continue the conversation. They thinking of, hey, this nigga here, this nigga that came through. Go ahead, come around that corner, bend that corner. Go ahead, stick us up too, so it look like you hit all of us up. And then once that man gone, once he get up out of there, we finna go back to the spot. We gonna divide it all up. We all gonna eat. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And they had been threatening his brother too, telling him they was gonna rob him. He ain't even had nothing to do with the money. You know what I mean? But shit get crazy, and it be the same people you grew up with. Yeah. And out you put some money and then try to rob.
Exactly. Look, I don't feel no type of way about nobody who slide on, man. It ain't worth risking your life to prove something to some motherfuckers who don't give a fuck about you. You know, it may be out of them dozens of folks you may know, it may be, you know, 1 or 2, 3 genuine ones, but for the most part, you know, the other motherfuckers, even if they was kicking it with you on a daily, they want what you got.
I never saw him do that again. In fact, I don't think I ever saw him back over there.
Hell no, he ain't coming back.
But it shouldn't took nothing like that for you to realize that when you get money like that, you're not one of them no more. You become a person they can rob, even though they don't know you. Just about all their life. You know what I'm saying? It's sad.
Yeah. Because people value material. Again, when people don't value themselves, and a lot of us don't, they value material because, again, the music, like Roger just said, the music that influenced these shoes, these bags, this designer, all this other shit. This is this. I rock this. So that gives me value. I don't have real value in myself. I'm not aware of what I possess within myself, but hey, because I got these $5,000 worth of clothes on, you know, I'm somebody now. I'm official now. So people start learning to value the material compared to the matter, the person, the real individual. And, you know, to you, they don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about themselves. They just want what you got so they can put it on and look like they somebody, you know, impress the people who don't give a fuck about them, and the cycle continues. I don't give a fuck about you, but I want what you got so I can impress some motherfuckers who don't give a fuck about me. You know what I mean? And it's a crazy thing. And almond joys are terrible. No, it ain't eating no almond.
Yes, I hate them. That's like the worst candy ever. Ugh, gross.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's terrible.
What's your favorite candy?
Favorite candy? Whew, that's tough, man.
favorite chocolate candy?
It's a couple of them out there. I got to think about it. It's like I say, it's either Twix, whatchamacallit, or damn, what's the other one?
Snickers.
Snickers is cool. Not. I mean, I can fuck with the Snickers, but it's not really. Probably it's between the. Excuse me. A Twix, whatchamacallit, or Mr. Goodbar. Mr. Goodbar is my shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you can find it. That's like that old school.
Shit, I'd be fucking them up. I don't have any candy on the table. Like I said, I fucked up. I had 2 little granola bars, and I fucked them motherfuckers over. You talking about? See, Bryce, you fancy. See, you a fancy nigga. See, you got Ferrero Rocher, them little foil ball chocolates. See, I ain't been living. I ain't been in an area long enough to start eating them yet. You know, I gotta be here.
Oh yeah, you know what's up for 3 months of kids? Hell yeah, baby. Who said baby? Oh yeah, you know what you talking about.
Yeah, we just went off top. We all over the place. But yeah, definitely. I keep it basic. I got to get stuff I can get out the.
This was a good call.
Yeah, I enjoy it. You know, I always enjoy your calls, Miss Rashida.
I have to let you know you enjoy it though, because a lot of times I get on the phone and you be talking shit about me.
What?
That's okay.
All these false accusations. You accuse me of talking shit about you. Angela accused me of talking shit. I don't talk shit. I enjoy y'all's calls because I appreciate y'all. Look, it's not about the material, it's about the persons that matters. I appreciate y'all's calls and y'all's input. The ideas may be a little different, but I still appreciate them nonetheless. Candy corn is trash. Reese's cups are great. Reese's are good.
That's pretty good.
You like candy corn?
Yeah.
But
I be seeing a lot of people talking shit about candy corn. It makes me wonder, am I weird?
So all I'm saying is candy corn and milk. You would enjoy that combination?
Hell no. You know what?
What's the
candy that come in an orange and black wrapper? I hate that candy. I don't know what it's called though. Sometimes they come in an orange wrapper, sometimes they come in a black wrapper.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't think what they call. But they are terrible, man. They are terrible.
That's what I'm giving out for Halloween, so make sure your kids come back.
They gonna throw this shit back at you. I don't want this shit. You know, kids nowadays disrespectful. The fuck is this? Better give them some carrots, some little baby carrots, and some ranch dip. Yeah, they'll be good.
No, that's the worst house to go to. The house the vegetarian house.
The healthy house. Oh,
yep.
Man, it's all love. It's all love. Yeah, them little circus peanut things are terrible too.
Yeah, blueberry, exactly. It's like a taffy type of candy. You right. Yeah, I don't know what the name of them is. I guess they so terrible they don't even give them a name. Unknown.
We ain't gonna name these shits. I'm gonna drop something with.
Well, I'm gonna let you go now. I guess somebody else want to get on this.
Okay, Miss Rashida. Well, I appreciate your call and I thank you for calling.
Okay, y'all take care.
No, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. What was them little? There were some little candies that used to come in that like clear and brown wrapper. I forgot what they were. They were like some weird candies. And the little clear and brown wrapper, they look like a piece of wood or some shit. What's the motherfucking deal? Who got calling into the den this evening?
What's going on? It's John from New York. How you been?
John, what's going on, John? I didn't want to talk to you during the Yankee series, so it's been a while. But now that the whole Yankee series is over, I've been looking forward to talking to you, man. What's going on? What's on, John? How you feeling, man?
Man, yeah. I mean, you're happy. You got somebody from Texas representing.
Yes. The good old Stros, they tied it up tonight, so I'm cool with that. Now they just gotta win 2 more. Otherwise, it was all for naught.
Yeah. So what's going on tonight?
We're talking about the Kanye situation. I don't know if you saw the interview that he did. I want to say yesterday or the day before with with Big Boy, the Big Boy's Neighborhood or whatever it was, and then he dropped the Jesus is King album, and he's been getting a lot of backlash from some of the stuff he said because he talked about being on the Democrat thing, him wearing the Trump hat, and he's just saying that people trying to tell him who he can vote for. Being a black man now, being telling who he can vote for, being a Christian, and all he's saying is that people should be free to vote for whoever they want to, not just to go with the status quo. And then, some people are saying, he's a free-minded individual. Others are saying that, he's something wrong with him or he's still crazy. There's a bunch of things. But like I said, he had a really good interview, in my opinion. Very Kanye-esque and passionate, but I think he said a lot of good things in that interview.
Yeah, I heard about the album dropping and the whole Chick-fil-A reference and whatever else. I mean, it's 2019. Anytime you tell people the truth or you speak logic, you're automatically some kind of monster, and you're mentally ill and you're this and that. Nothing he said over the past few years I found to be crazy, like other people say. I mean, he might express himself differently than how others would about the same topic, but at the end of the day, he gets the same point across. And I mean, who was it? Rashida was on the phone call before me.
Yes.
Yeah, she was talking about when he went to the White House and how Kim K got it done, and I think she said something along the lines of, if Kim K wasn't there, then they wouldn't have gotten anything. Well, they wouldn't have gotten as much or anything done. Something along those lines. Mm. And the thing is, Meek Mill was supposed to be the one who's supposed to be the face of the First Step Act.
Yes.
And then Jay-Z, his paymaster, told him fall back because it's not going to be a good look, and the hip hop community is not going to support you. Blah 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 to be the end of your career. So I mean, he could have been the face of something that potentially could help a lot of black people as well as other Americans that are incarcerated. And because of money and ignorance, he decided not to go. So, I mean, you can't sit there and say, Trump used Kim K because she's Kim K or because she's white or any other reason when Meek Mill had the opportunity. And Kanye, who, newsflash, is a black man also in America, when he went there and he was talking about all those things about opening, helping people get out of jail, helping them with, new opportunities once they get out so they don't go back in and blah, blah, and all that stuff. A lot of that stuff's in the First Step Act. So someone was listening to him. So the reality is, you could say Kim K didn't do anything, but she did a hell of a lot more. Her white ass did a hell of a lot more than Meek Mill's black ass did. I mean, Steve Harvey tried to go to the White House and do the right thing, and then once his paymaster said, we're going to financially lynch you if you keep walking up the plantation, he stepped back and was like, oh no, Trump's a racist, and I think he's crazy and this and that. Well, he wasn't crazy when you went there. You thought you could make some money off of doing some things with him. So, and I don't know who Steve Harvey is to call Trump a racist or crazy when he's pimping out his 22-year-old daughter to a 50-year-old black man who pumps and dumps his entire life. So, I mean, that shows you where his morals and values are. But in regards to Kanye West, of course people are going to give him shit. He's a hip-hop artist. He's a black man in America. He's opinionated, and of course they're going to give him shit. But he's doing the right thing. He's saying how he feels. He's willing to have conversations with people, and people, all they want to do is just yell at him back and throw slurs at him and nasty names and call him crazy and this and that. Fuck them. He's supposedly a billionaire because of his Adidas shares through his clothing line. Him and his wife were successful in all their other ventures. So, all these people, and, going back to what you were talking about earlier, about how, people say we want the old Kanye back. If you sound the same every single album, people are going to say, oh, all his music sounds the same. This goes for any artist. All your music sounds the same. It's boring. I already know what it's going to be like. And then when you change, people are like, oh, I miss the old version of my artist. Yeah. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But at the same time, as he's growing older and maturing and his mind is changing, so are his fans that were 20 years old when he first came out, and they're now 40 also. So the reality is somebody's buying his music, somebody's paying for his clothes, even though it looks like it was designed for homeless people. Somebody's buying it.
Yeah.
So the reality is people who were talking about I miss the old Kanye, what they're really saying is I miss Kanye when he didn't say things I disagreed with. That's what they're really saying. Because, his music is still great. His music was always great.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a lot. Some people might generally not like the new music, but I think a lot of people they're just venting and bitching because they don't like something he said or did recently. Most likely it's because he's been talking about politics, he's been wearing the MAGA hat, his support for Trump, he's married to a white woman, blah, 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 blah. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, like I say, man, to me, I thought it was very profound, the things that he said. And he touched on a lot of things I think a lot of people, like you said, didn't want to hear. And he talked about how he kind of got out of the New York and the LA and those environments, and he actually kind of went to middle America and saw how people were really leaving. He kind of touched on that and was just speaking on that. It's a different type of person out there that he's learning to relate to. He touched on so many things. Like I say, it was extremely interesting. And again, a lot of people were mad, like you said, about the Chick-fil-A comment. A lot of people were upset about that. But then he also talked about, it's funny that, people were mad because I used the Chick-fil-A line, but I was one of the first rappers to stop telling you guys to stop saying fag, stop using the F word as a derogatory term, showing support for the gay community and stuff like that. But how quickly those people forget that. And he made a phrase, like he said, you could just never do enough for people. And so people got,
Wait, who said this?
This is Kanye.
Okay.
And he was saying that how that you can never do enough for people. He's like, even though I was one of the first people to promote this and say this, and now I'm a coon because I was the guy y'all loved when, I said George Bush didn't care about black people. But now because, I see something or I support this administration or I'm no longer thinking, being brainwashed. Now I'm a coon because, I wear the MAGA hat or whatever else is going on. And so he just, like I say, he touched on a lot of stuff. And I think the problem is that people, they get locked in. I think people are, it's that term, keeping it real. People are afraid to change, afraid to be who they really are. They're even afraid to look at what's going on the other side for fear that, hey, they might actually be right on the other side. I might have been living my life wrong the entire time. And I think people just they pigeonhole themselves into these the ideologies, and then they just get mad when they see, I guess, people maybe they were affectionate towards or that they like, change over. I think that's why you see a lot of people who had family who kind of went MAGA, they disown their friends and family or whatever without taking time to really understand what's going on, And so I think it's a lot of crazy people out there, and it's a problem.
Yeah, I think it's not a problem. Well, for me, it's not a problem, but I think a lot of people are not used to people being so blunt and honest and telling their feelings, how they feel with no remorse out in the public, like on TV or radio. Because I feel like every year that passes, we get less and less politically correct, less and less reserved.
Yeah.
So I think people, they're not used to it, and they're certainly not used to it when it's something they don't agree with. If I were to go on TV and talk about killing Donald Trump, they'd be like, yeah. But if I were to go on TV and say, I don't think Barack Obama was really considered the first black president, they'd hang me. So, the reality is people just don't want to hear what they don't agree with.
Yeah.
It takes a special kind of person to be able to have a debate with someone and not flip their lid when someone is habitually coming at them in a way that they don't like. It takes a special kind of talent to be able to diffuse someone with words instead of emotions and physical violence. A lot of people don't have it. But what else are we talking about? I heard you guys talking about a couple things in the beginning.
Yeah,
kind of all over the place.
I don't know if you heard now, but mathematics are racist.
What is it?
Mathematics, they're racist. So,
of course they are.
Yeah, so
of course they are.
In Seattle, they had a board who kind of came, but I know somebody had asked kind of what the contents of the article. I had pulled it up in between calls actually a little bit earlier, and basically, what they were saying is that they came with a, like I said, a report, And then it said there's a few themes in this report, and then again that 4 of them were origins, identity, and agency. The other one was power and oppression, history of resistance and liberation, and reflection and action. And again, these aren't topics that I would think would be necessarily associated with math, but I'm sure that where there's a will, there's a way. But they suggested that the Seattle Public Schools Ethnic Advisory Committee suggests that subjects that include heavy emphasis in math are considered subjective and racist. You say, and this is the thing that bothered me. This was the thing that bothered me. I'm glad I pulled this up. It says, who gets to say if an answer is right? And I think proper math just it informs you. What is it I forgot the term. When you reverse it to make sure you got the right answer, you correct it by doing the opposite. Like when you use addition to figure out subtraction to figure out addition, but multiplication or whatever it may be, whatever the formula is, you basically do in reverse to get to. I think that's kind of what tells you it's right. Like that's how you figure. There's nobody who has to say this is right or wrong. It's within the math itself. So I don't understand. Like I was saying, I don't understand how something as neutral as math can be that. And this says another thing was, how is math manipulated to allow inequality and oppression to persist? So yeah, there's that. And the thing is, this.
Well, that's like that's like that lady that said that she's fat because of racism and Donald Trump.
Yes.
Did you hear about that one?
Yes, and I think she's an educator or something, or a counselor or something like that too.
It's the running joke was, I want to see pictures of you during Obama's 2 terms.
Yeah, and again, that was super crazy. I'm like, I guess so. You just started struggling with this in the last 3 years or so. It's certain things that are just said, and then they because they talked about who she quoted, and then that person that they quote, I forgot their name, but they have a history of kind of being on the social justice train too, and they've been. I forgot where she quoted the stuff from because I was reading up on that, and I thought that was pretty crazy. But again, this board is made up of educators, and so it makes you question like, who is educating your children? What are they teaching your children?
Well, here's the thing. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who owns a couple of restaurants, and I was there, and he has a bartender there that I chat with whenever I'm there, and he's busy. And she's in college. She's going to graduate next year, and she wants to be a teacher. I think she wants to teach 1st through 6th grade or something like that. Mm-hmm. We were talking about the education system. I asked her opinions on Common Core and stuff like that. And this article you just cited to me it doesn't surprise me at all. That's the way the system works. It allows you to be stupid, for lack of a better word. It then tells you that you're not wrong for feeling the way you are. It then allows you to repeat yourself to many, many people and allow other stupid people to keep repeating the same thing, and then a whole entire group of people become ignorant. And then you don't push the mentality of bettering yourself and having more ambition and being able to hear a different side of the story because everyone's been telling you that you're right and everyone else feels the same way, so it must be the herd mentality that if everyone's saying it, it must be right. They did the same thing back a few years ago. There was, I don't remember the exact story, I remember the gist of it, which is basically there was a bunch of teachers trying to take an exam, and a lot of the black teachers failed it or didn't do well. So what they did was, instead of telling the black teachers, hey, you probably didn't study well enough, they told them, we're going to lower, they claimed racism, they got an attorney, and what they said, we're going to lower the score so more black people can pass. And I said to myself, don't you think that's kind of like buying into the stereotype that you're black and your IQ isn't as good as other races? Because the bottom line is there are some black people that pass it, so what's the difference between their black ass and your black ass? Well, one of them studied more, you had better studying habits, and you didn't. I mean, so, and they did the same thing in California. I think this was like 5 or 10 years ago when they had the Ebonics classes, and people were like, you can't be teaching Ebonics in school. And everyone's like, that's racist if you don't let them learn Ebonics. I'm like, that's the way the system works. A few black people and a few white liberals are screaming that if you don't let them have Ebonics, that it's racist. But in reality, all they're doing is hurting those kinds of people who want to speak Ebonics and not proper English, because when they go out for a job, they're not going to know how to communicate with other people who speak proper English. They're going to get judged. They're not going to get the job, and they're going to cry even more racism and discrimination. And that's the way it works, is that they... it's like the old saying, the banks will give you enough rope to hang yourself. Yeah. The system will allow you to take as much rope as you need to hang yourself. And then when you hang yourself, it's not your fault. It's someone else's fault. Someone else gave you the rope. You know, it's not your fault. You hung yourself with it. And you know, and I keep telling, and I always tell people, you know, the system, the word system, is comprised of many, many people or many, many parts. Like a computer is a computer system. It's comprised of many processors, chips, and, you know, buttons and wires and everything, and that creates the system. Every person in America is part of the system. So when people say the system is rigged, well, that includes you, your neighbor, your cousins, your mama, and everyone else you know and you don't know. So, you know what I mean? So when you buy into the stupidity, you are the system that's holding yourself back.
I cannot disagree with that. And Heidi, yes, that's the quote I used earlier, the soft bigotry of low expectations. I said I learned that recently over the last few months, and I'm starting to see that more and more and more, and people are comfortable with that. It's saddening, really. What are your thoughts? Because like I said, we hadn't talked to you in a while. What were your thoughts about the kid up in Dallas? I don't know if you'd heard about the case that they were trying to, the mom was trying to turn the little kid into a transgender and put him on the hormone blocks or whatever. They were divorcing, or they had a divorce, and so she was basically trying to force the dad to acknowledge him as a girl, and basically went to court. It almost happened had it not blown up in the national media. I think the judge would have went along with it, but she kind of changed course at the end. And then with this woman being a pediatrician, how do you think that impacts, you know, the decisions that she's making for other people's children?
Well, I think that whole thing was fucking bullshit. I don't know how you're gonna fucking tell one of the two kids' parents that they have no say in the kid fucking changing its goddamn fucking gender at 7 fucking years old. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. A fucking 7-year-old can decide what fucking gender it wants to, what sex it wants to be, but fucking, you know, it's like, and he has no say in the child changing gender, and then it's just a fucking joke. Let the kid fucking wait until the kid's fucking 17 or 18, and then let the kid decide for himself what he wants to fucking do. And who the fuck is the mother to have more say if the fucking kid becomes a fucking tranny versus the father saying so? You know what I mean? It's fucking, no, it's ridiculous. I know I'm cursing up a storm right now because it's just fucking ridiculous. Because I had this conversation in class the other fucking day with a bunch of people and my instructor, and I said, if a fucking woman wants to have an abortion because it's her body, her choice, no problem. You don't want to take care of that baby for the next 18 years, physically, emotionally, and financially. You have the decision to kill it through abortion. No problem. Your body, your choice. But if I decide through the same consensual act of sex with you, which makes me 50% responsible just like you, but you get to choose 100% to kill the baby. If I say, you know what, I don't want to fucking take care of the baby for the next 18 years, I'm going to abort my financial responsibilities to the baby, but I'm not going to kill it, and I'm not going to abandon it. I just don't want to pay for it. Nope, you go to fucking jail for being delinquent, you know, on your fucking child support. So it's ridiculous. It's my choice. It's their choice when it benefits them, but when it benefits the other side, it's no fucking choice. And that's another reason why I got so pissed with this fucking 7-year-old. You want fucking equality, no problem. Give both sides equal fucking say.
I agree.
You know, it's ridiculous. Kid's fucking 7 years old. You fucking get the fuck out of here. 7 fucking years old. Kid can't even fucking think straight yet. No pun intended.
But the fucked up part about it though is the kid didn't even want to be a girl. You know, around his dad, he's a normal little kid. The mom was like neglecting love from him and shit. I'm laughing. That's funny as shit. Was neglecting the love whenever he wouldn't acknowledge being a girl and doing all this other stuff. And again, so now they have who's it, Ted Cruz and I think the Greg Abbott. So they're going to actually be looking into the case, and they're going to be sending CPS and kind of, you know, really kind of, I guess, searching through this mom's history or with this child. Would you consider that child abuse if you're forcing a kid to go through these things?
Wait, say that part again? I missed it.
So would you consider it child abuse if it's found out that she's kind of forcing or coaxing this child to become a girl against his will?
It should certainly be some kind of a strike towards those, towards her parenting. You know, what's the fucking people that come to make sure you're not beating your kid and all that stuff?
Like CPS?
Make sure you're a fit parent. Yeah, it should definitely be some kind of a huge strike against that. You know what I mean? Like, You know, like, you see that's, but then it's like you play like a fine line, because you want to give the parent the authority to say no, you're going to wait until you're 18 to decide to change your sex, but then at the same time someone else is going to play the other side of the coin. But at the same time, if you're forcing, that's the thing. Like, technically, as the parent, you kind of own your kid until they're 17 years old. So, but if the kid doesn't want to do it, I mean, legally the parent has say. But what I don't like is the fact that one parent didn't want it, the other parent did, but somehow one parent's voice was more important than the other. So that's my beef. You know, if the kid, like you said, if the kid's saying he don't want to do it, and the mom is pushing it, I think, you know, someone should step in. More likely, maybe another family member. But I mean, it's a slippery slope. For me, generally speaking, I don't think kids should be having a sex change before they're 17 years old. Because in New York, the age of consent for sex is 17, and for the be able to sign a contract as an adult, it's 18 years old. So until you're 17 or 18, in my opinion, you shouldn't be able to, you know, do anything that's considered an adult move.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I feel about it. But again, you know, you remember Mario Lopez got in trouble for saying he doesn't think 3-year-olds should be going through fucking sex change operations and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. I mean, I know they do it on purpose to get, you know, half the country riled up, but it's ridiculous that this is the shit they talk about to get the country riled up. You know what I mean? A 3-year-old, you know, having a debate about 3-year-olds having sex changes, 7-year-olds having fucking hormone therapy. It's like, come on, man. First of all, the transgender person that's in my class, I found out the other day, has been on hormone therapy for 2 years. It still looks 100% man. So I'm just like, you know, and I say that respectfully. It's like, so you might give this kid hormone therapy, and it might not really do much in terms of look to have the kid look like a woman. You know, you might just fuck up. You know, and then when he's 18 years old, he's got no fucking testosterone. He's got maybe not enough estrogen or too much estrogen, and you can physically fuck him up health-wise for the rest of his life. He can maybe never have kids again. He might have health issues. Blah blah blah. All for what? Because at 7 years old, you don't know what you want in life. When I was 7 years old, I wanted to be 6'10" and be a basketball player. At 40 years old now, I thank God that I'm not 6'10", because I bang my head on the doorway every time I walk into the house, and I have to pay 3 times as much money for clothes and get them all cut. So it's like, when you're 7, you think completely different than when you're 18, than when you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old.
I agree.
But what else you guys talk about today?
I think that's pretty much the spectrum. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that we addressed. We talked about shitty candies. I don't know. You have a personal candy preference, or a candy that you can't stand?
That I can't stand. I do, but I can't think of them right now. There's a couple, but I can't think of it. I'm not really a picky eater. The only thing I don't eat is eggplant. Is that pretty much eggplant? That's one thing I don't eat.
What are your opinions on candy corn?
It's all right. I mean, I can only eat it in small amounts. I mean, if I have more than like 4 or 5 pieces, it gets too sugary. But otherwise, it's all right.
Okay. That's all.
Yo, tell Heidi she wasn't talking shit when Rashid was on the phone for 20 minutes. She's telling me you got other callers. Fuck out of here.
Heidi don't want the beef. That's easy.
But I wanted to say I caught a little bit of the Sunday show when the confessions.
Yes.
Man, what was it, like a priest outfit, a judge outfit you had on?
Oh yeah, the priest.
And let me tell you, the rhyming was on point. I mean, the fucking catch slogan, you had me dying. I was like, oh my God. Like, did you rehearse that? Because if you said that at the top of the dome, you're a very talented man.
No, it's freestyle. Most of the shit I do, I just kind of try to do shit off the head. I should probably do more research on a lot of things, but I just was just trying to go with the flow on that one.
Yeah. What When are you doing this conference calling thing so we can have debates amongst the Den members?
Man, I'm working on it. I got something I want to do, and I don't want to tell y'all what it is yet, but I will definitely I will give y'all a heads up like the day, or at least a couple of days before. Try to maybe at least a day before once I get everything together. But I'm gonna try to get that done hopefully this week. But hopefully, maybe by within the next couple of days we can get that done because I really want to get I really want to do it because I think it's gonna be extremely interesting.
And I wanted to see if I still got it. Am I able to? Because I've never asked for pistachios before. Mm-hmm. So am I able to maybe like retroactively take some of my past due pistachios and then hand them off to someone else or to other people in the den?
Yeah, we can make that happen. Yeah.
All right. So would 10,000 pistachios be asking for too much? Is that overstepping my white privilege?
No. I'm sure you made enough calls to justify that. That's not a problem at all. Who would you like to give them to?
All right, 2 people. And I forgive anyone I'm forgetting. I'd like to give 10,000 to only one La. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to give 10,000 to K Grace.
Okay. Absolutely. I got you. So only one lie. Only one lie is a pistachio hustler in her own right, so I ain't even mad at her. And Miss Grace, is Miss Grace joined us tonight? I don't even know if she's been in here tonight, but I gotta still make sure she gets.
Yeah, it. I don't want to hear Ray say us den men hate the women. We love women.
Exactly. Yeah, see, it's just only who is it? Shelley says we're chauvinistic, we're misogynistic. I don't believe any of those things.
You tell Heidi she's exactly right.
Really. And I'll make sure we got that. All right, well, that's a bet. Anything else on your mind there, John?
You know what there is, and it's just not coming to me. I'll call back later because I love Kanye. I mean, anybody who's gonna go against the grain and put that hat on and be in an industry where he knows he's gonna get fucking, dare I say the word, lynched for fucking supporting a Republican, especially Donald Trump. I love that. You know, he's a free thinker. He says what he fucking wants. You can call him crazy. I don't care. You know what I want to say? The whole thing about you were talking earlier about, this, I think it was standardized testing and how certain kids do better than others and what's the reasoning behind it. Kanye's mother, I know she passed away, but she was, I believe, a college professor, some form of an educator. Yeah, and his father was, I believe his father was a photographer, a journalist. I think he was a photojournalist, and he was like one of the first famous black photojournalists. And Kanye spent time, part of his youth growing up in Japan. He went to school in Japan. He learned how to speak Japanese, although he said he forgot it as he got older. He's never been in trouble with the law. He had that one spat with the paparazzi, but he's never been in trouble with the law. And he went to college and he's successful. He's got a family, takes care of his kids, and yet, when people say the reason why, someone might not do well in testing is because of lack of opportunity. Or, well, whose fault is that? Like, how come Kanye's parents made something of themselves and provided the best they could for their kids? And Kanye's not a dumb guy. And so why are other people can't make it either? Why are some people in the same community doing well while other people are doing poorly, but yet the people doing poorly are making excuses? So what about the people in your community who grew up in the same community or amongst the same people, maybe a similar mentality, and they're doing well? So that's what I want to say about the standardized testing. It's bullshit, because I'm just going to be blunt. It's usually black people who say that standardized testing is racist. Yeah. So my whole thing is, how is standardized testing racist? Because of the culture or what? Because the reality is, if it's about America and its culture, you'll be hard pressed to find a group of people that's more American in America than black people. Maybe the Native Americans, and that's it. So the reality is, black people should be doing the best on those fucking tests because they've been around white people the longest of any other ethnicity in this country. They've been in the white system for longer than any ethnicity in this country. So if anyone's going to understand any culture in this country, it should be black people. And the reality is, there's plenty of black people that that you can name any kind of situation that they grew up in or around or with and did extremely fucking well. We have black billionaires, we have black scholars, we have black PhDs, we have black everything in this country, and they made it. Dr. Ben Carson grew up in Detroit. His mother couldn't read, but yet he read 2 books a week. So the reality, and they were poor, food stamps, this and that, you name it, in the hood. So, the reality is, I don't want to hear about standardized testing as racist. You have fucking, I'm just going to use general terms, but you have fucking Mexicans crossing the border, fucking 13 of them living in a fucking one-room apartment. They used to go to black schools back in the day. They don't anymore. Now they have their own communities because they kick black people out of them. And fucking, they used to go to the same teachers, same schools. They used to fucking their first language was Spanish, not fucking English. They would come to this fucking country, do chores around the house, have a job at fucking 12 years old, learn English, and then score better on the same fucking tests that black kids in America were taking, who have been in this country for generation after generation. And you could say the whole thing that, well, black people were kind of hindered in the education department. That's fine. But how about black people from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago? So the bottom line is it's not a race issue. Black people have the ability to learn just as well as any other race or religion or ethnicity or gender of people in this world. The reality is it's the mentality and it's the family structure. So I don't want to hear about the fucking it's standardized testing is racist. Give me a fucking break. 2 + 2 is 4 in every fucking language. So I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So that's some bullshit. So that's something that I forgot earlier. I wanted to touch on. I don't know how your feelings about that are, but
oh man, I definitely agree. Because like I said, I mean, just experiencing it for myself, I was probably the poorest kid in the gifted and talented program, hands down. wasn't even close. Single mom. Everybody else had mom, pops. Everybody had the what do you call it? The nuclear family or whatever you want to call it. I was the only person from a single mother. I was the only black kid in those programs, in those classes. And I would ace them. I'd always have the best grades. And again, like I said, it's just about what my mother instilled in me. My mom used to read to me when I was in the womb. When I was young, my parents were big on education. Like I said, they started teaching me at home prior to. I loved reading when I was young, even though we was in the hood and my dad was a so-so. He was here and he was there, but one thing he did keep a vast collection of books and things. Wasn't there to teach me how to read, none of the motherfuckers. But so that's one thing. But he used to play the stock market, do all kind of little things that I guess average hood parents or average hood dad, whatever you want to call them, wouldn't do. So maybe that's what separated me, the little things or whatever. But so I don't see that as an excuse because again, like I said, you can talk about being in poverty. Like I had to get bused from a different, I wasn't even supposed to go to that school. Like I had to get bused from a different area of the district to go to that school because the school I was supposed to go to did not have gifted and talented classes. They were actually talking about they were going to skip me. So I'm in the same neighborhood with all the other niggas that's struggling, everybody else that's going through hard times. So that's why I can't see it like that. But now what I will say is, then before my mind state changed and I started kind of waking up and seeing things differently, yeah, I did still have that mentality, not realizing all the blessings that I had at my feet, it's because of this, it's because of this, and I maybe would have done so much better, but no crying over spilled milk. But again, when I look back and I say, well, damn, I used to be the first person done with all my shit. I used to ace all the fucking work, would have perfect score, like it was nothing. When I see other kids who were in these classes, they struggle a little bit or take a little bit of time or whatever else it was, and so I can't sit here and say, oh, race is the issue or the money is the issue. It's what you give your attention to. And what your parents, the priorities that they instill, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, when I was young, my sister was still alive. She would help me with certain stuff if I did have questions or anything like that. So I had that structure, that education was important. And I think a lot of people just don't value education because their parents don't value education or they don't, push that on them. It is what it is. So I think that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, we're pretty much on the same page. And I just wanted to say there's somebody in the chat room named Kelly Cole. Mm-hmm. It says how those callers feel about cops shooting unarmed black people. Mm-hmm. I feel the same way when they shoot unarmed white people. I usually don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. Usually you look at the fucking video, the unedited version of it. Usually they're doing something stupid. Mm-hmm. There's a few times when the person wasn't doing something stupid, and I feel bad, like the guy who was running away in South Carolina and got shot in the back because the unpaid child support. I felt bad about that. I felt bad when I think his name was Tamir Rice, the 13-year-old kid who got shot in the park for having the little toy gun in his hand. I felt bad about that. But almost every other one was, they did it to themselves. They were doing some dumb shit. And I don't like that question because I have a friend of mine who sent me a video of the white guy getting tasered in his balls like 11 times. They pulled on his pants and tasered his balls. And she's like, well, what do you think of this? I'm like, honestly, I said the video should be titled When Acting African American Goes Wrong. I said, I was just like, you think, and I said it to her on purpose because I said, you think that because it's a white guy, an unarmed white guy is happening to, I'm supposed to feel differently because I'm white. And I said, the reality is I don't give a fuck who they do it to. If they're saying stupid shit, if they're doing stupid shit, if they're not complying like an idiot, then you win stupid prizes. Again, there's sometimes when it's just blatantly wrong, like the Tamir Rice situation, and I think the guy got shot in the back. His last name was Scott or something. Those situations where it's wrong. And I see you smirking on the phone on my screen. So what did I say or what did somebody else say?
No, I'm just laughing at you because I love it. You know what I'm saying? Because you tend to say certain things that I know people are getting riled up by, and I enjoy it for some reason. I get a kick out. I love when people are blunt and honest and speaking their mind. You know what I mean? Even if it's in disagreement with whomever or whatever. This is what I love about the Den.
No, hold on a second. So Strawberry 32, I know she loves it when I call in and talk about race, but non-compliance is what a cop says it is. No, non-compliance is what somebody who is not a derelict looks and sees it as it is. Someone who's not brainwashed, someone who grew up following the rules, respecting authority, and understanding not everything's going to go your way when you want it to. And to only one lie. Is she talking about the guy who was crawling on his hands and knees, and then they shot him with the fucking rifle in the hotel room?
Yeah, that was fucked up too.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying.
I felt bad for him.
But that doesn't fit the media narrative. Like I say, again, and this is from my own personal experiences, I cannot hate every cop. Because I'm going to tell you why. The most fucked up experiences I've had with the police have come at the hands of black cops. Then I've had white cops treat me extremely cool. I'm not gonna sit here and say every night. I've had a couple of instances that I would say was racist. I was with some friends, white and Hispanic, tells them guys to go on about their business. He keeps me detained and gets to questioning me. I've done nothing no different. We've all been together for most of the day or whatever, hanging out, and we were just walking. So it is what it is. There are situations. But I've had a cop, like I said, when I was in South Dakota, got pulled over. I had a boss, my foreman, and the general foreman on the job that did the same thing. They were speeding. He ended up giving them a ticket because, like I said, we had the nearest place to cash a check was like 80 miles away. So we speeding to get there and get back in time to get some sleep to go to work the next morning. And catches them, pulls them over, gives them a ticket. Pulls me over. It's me and my best friend who's Hispanic. So he goes to my shit. I fucking I pull my he asked me my license and insurance. I pull my glove box open, and a pack of backwoods.
Wait, it was a black cop?
No, white cop. This was a white cop in South Dakota.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, my general foreman and my foreman, they were two white guys. Gave them a ticket.
Heidi Kleindienst donated $2 through Super Chat. Honcho's cop was Bernie Mac.
But
that's why I was laughing.
But my fucking like I say, pack of backwoods falls out, all this stuff, and he's just like, hey man, talks to me real cool about it, and like I say, end up everything being everything, ends up letting me go. Same shit that my foreman and GF just did. Gave them a ticket, two white guys. Let me make it. It wasn't shit. Ran my shit, wasn't no nothing. Let me make it. Didn't give me a ticket. Saw we was there to work. Wasn't tripping. And so I can't say that every experience with a cop is a racist situation, because I've had personal situations where it has been. I've had ones where it hasn't, but the ones who've talked the most shit and talked down the most have been black cops I've encountered. The only time I've had pistols drawn on me have been by black cops, threatened to get shot, black cops. Like, had a situation dealing with some white police that were taking me in for something, and the situation could have been escalated to the point where we wouldn't be having this conversation today. You feel me? And the cop, saw what it was, and he said, hey, man, you ain't really give us no shit. You ain't, whatever. Don't even worry about it. And, scrub that from even being on the record. And like I say, that's something that saved years off my life. So two white cops. So again, like I say, I understand it. I understand the injury, but a lot of times the people that get mad and infuriated about have never even had run-ins with the law like that. And again, you just you feel a particular kind of way because of the person being represented in the situation. I'm just talking about firsthand experiences that I've had, and they worked out favorable by the way I carry. But I'm not a yes sir, no sir type guy. I say, hey, officer, or whatever like this. There's been times I've been irate and livid and probably still got a favorable experience out of it. Like, I've done some things that quick movements, pulling shit out of my pocket, whatever you want to call it, that some people say, oh, that'll get you shot, this, and this. I've been non-compliant, but my experiences have not gotten me shot, that's why I don't get on every black person is getting shot for getting out the car. Yes, there are some unfavorable situations and they're fucked up and they need to be called out when they are. But again, I've had multiple run-ins with the law when I was much younger, even in a much more physically threatening shape or whatever you want to call it. Now I'm old and flabby now, but at the time I was a little bit more yoked that would be, people would be intimidated. But I've never had these experiences. So I'm not telling anybody that their experience is wrong. Like we were talking about earlier, I'm not in your shoes. I'm not in whoever else's shoes. So I can't say that you haven't had nothing but racist experiences. So it is what it is. But in my experience, it hasn't been like that. And I'm talking about being in places where people say, oh, those cops, they're racist, they're this, this is a racist town over here, and not had any issues, even though, I've had, encounters with law enforcement. I think I don't know. Like I said, I can only live through my experience.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's experiences has been different. So, I just feel like it's easy to villainize an entire group of people, whether it's their profession, their race, their origin of country, or whatever. It's just easy to label everyone as an entire stereotype or a group than just to say that cop is an asshole. They say all cops are assholes. I mean, the reality is, like, even if you see one video a day of a cop being an asshole, that's 365 videos a year out of how many hundreds of thousands of police officers in the country. So what's the percentage? 0.0001? So there's more fucking stockbrokers, doctors, lawyers, and fucking other people that are fucking, throwing people in jail for life, scamming people, stealing people's money, this and that, and fucking
Heidi
cops doing
Kleindienst
fucking
donated
horrible things.
$2 through Super Chat. I hate the black ass Wesley Snipes.
And I'm laughing.
What movie was that? What movie was that when Bernie Mac goes, "I hate my gums because they're black"?
Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking their juice in the hood. And the reason I'm laughing is because Kanye also made a reference to that. He made a reference to that in the fucking interview. That's why it's really funny, because he said that shit. I think he might have said I don't know if he said the Wesley Snipes line or he might have said, but he made the reference to that scene when he was doing the thing. So I think that's pretty funny.
What do you think about the police shootings on unarmed black people?
I think there are some that are unjust. Like I said, I would agree that, like you mentioned, the Shamir Rice, the other one. But then there are certain situations where, like I said, sometimes you got to play the favor in your hand. You got to know the situation that you're in. You got to have some sense of self-awareness and not escalate the situation. You don't have the upper hand no matter what. The whole point of the game is to walk away with your life, regardless if you are in an uncomfortable situation or whatever it is. And you can talk about, well, you got rights and you got all this stuff. You got one life too. If you notice a situation that's uncomfortable that could end up unfavorably, then you got to play the game how it go and deal with it later. In the court of law, even if it still doesn't turn out favorably, you still have your life. Now, there are certain situations, like I said, I'm not a person who gets on every shooting, but then you see a lot of these things turn out to be, okay, well, such and such had a gun on him, or such and such wasn't really unarmed. But then, like I say, there are those that you have questions like the guy, I want to say, was that in Milwaukee or Minnesota? The guy was in there with his daughter in the car and his old lady, and the cop told him to pull out his wallet. And he told him, hey, I'm licensed to carry, and he was
Castile, Philando Castile.
Yeah, like that guy. That was one I was not too keen on. But it's like I say, there are situations, those that you kind of look at it once you kind of get a full grasp of the facts of what's going on, and then you start to okay, this was probably unjust. But then there's a lot where you start getting details and find, okay, well, it wasn't as squeaky clean as you made it seem. There was one I remember they were oh, it wasn't, this guy was smoking fucking wet. Like, shit, I'm not saying, shoot the guy down because he smoked, but I mean, that's a dangerous person. I think it was a chick who was dealing with him. And he's a big dude. And again, I'm not saying that's the reason to take anybody's life, but you just got, like I say, you got to try to play things in your favor. And I think it comes to the psychological aspect of it, or however you want to look at it. But the point of the game is to walk away with your life. And you can do that without, I know the term, some people use bootlicking or what all that other stuff. You just have to play it kosher, and like I say, so I think there are good, there are bad. I don't think I won't say it's as predominant a problem, but I think when those opportunities do come up, the media loves to jump on that because it helps to push that narrative. And I think that narrative keeps a lot of black people distracted and believing certain things are happening that aren't happening at the rate that they believe they're happening. Now, these things are occurring. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not, but the media picks and chooses stuff they want to promote because you can have a lot of similar situations. Like even when you take into account like the some of these school shootings and stuff. There was a guy I want to say it was at a Cali school, somewhere on the West Coast. The black coach who stopped the school shooting by hugging the kid and taking the gun away. But that wasn't promoted as much as something, the good news isn't promoted, or the stuff that doesn't get you riled up, because the news has an agenda too. That's not promoted as much as, say, the kid would have went in there and laid 5 or 10 people out. Then we'd be talking about, gun reform and everything that's wrong and all this other stuff. So, like I say, the media has a job, and that job is to fight for your attention. And again, attention is the new currency. So they have to fight with Instagram, they have to fight with Facebook, they have to fight with me here on YouTube and everything else for your attention. So the stories that are going to get your attention are going to be the most dramatic, the most tragic, the ones that seem unjust, because you're going to have questions. You're going to want to know what happened. But the open and shut shit, the blatant shit, it's not going to be big news because there's no questioning. There's nothing to dive into, this was right or this was wrong, and that's it. So, like I said, to me, I think it's happening, but not at the rate in which it is. But again, once one happens, it becomes a story for 2 or 3 weeks until, maybe another one happens. And then, like you said, there's so many millions of people here in this country. There's so many incidents that go on every day that are not getting recorded, are not things. And then once one does occur, once something does escalate to that level, now it becomes, national news. And so now it feels like, and I think that's part of having the social media, part of the internet thing, is that this is news that back in the day, maybe 10, 15 years ago, we wouldn't even know about, but because of the interconnectivity we all have, because of social media and how quickly it is to share and spread news, you feel connected to each one of these that is not happening in your city. It's something that maybe happened international or way across the country, but you feel like it creates this sense of I don't know, I can't think of what we call it, tension or whatever, where you feel like you're targeted or you're in danger. But again, with millions and millions of people living in densely populated areas, altercations are going to happen. Shit is going to happen. That's just kind of the odds. And so, I don't, again, like I said, I have to look at, I'll take them on an individual. I try to take everything on an individual case by case basis. I don't like to lump stuff, all into one.
You're making too much sense, Honcho. Someone's gonna come for you.
I'll be missing probably tomorrow.
All right, I might be on record for one of the longest calls in the den ever. So just want to say sorry to everybody.
It's all good.
I know I'm going to be hanging up as the walls of the den are blazing on fire with the next callers, because I know they're going to have a lot to say after this conversation. But I thank you for taking the phone call, and wear your bulletproof vest. I am, because they're coming for us after this.
No, it's all good. Hey, we all got to go one day, man. So at least be on the high note.
And Kelly Cole said if your child was shot by a cop, that percentage wouldn't matter. That's like the oldest trick in the book. That's like me taking anything negative someone else has said and saying, if your child was this or if you were that, it's like you wouldn't make a joke about AIDS if your mom had AIDS. You wouldn't make a joke about gay people if your son was gay. I mean, when you take it to yourself, Yeah, of course you're always going to feel differently when it's to yourself. It's like us men. We always call women, I don't say always, but there's been plenty of men who call women bitches and hoes, whether sparingly or every single time. And we talk about how we love to fuck her and we're just looking for sex. But if one of your friends were to turn around and say, yeah, your mom, I want to fuck your mom, you're like, whoa, that's my mom. You can't talk about it like that. But yet it's okay to talk about every other bum's mom like that. You know what I mean? So everyone else's daughter like that. So saying if your child was the one shot is kind of like saying that, you know? It's like, I love getting my dick sucked, but if I said I want your sister to suck my dick, you're going to be like, whoa, you can't say that. So that's how I feel about that. But nice try, though. But anyway, have a good night, sir.
All right. Appreciate it, John. Appreciate the call, man.
All right, take care.
All right. So I know the line is up, but there's a couple of y'all who text in, so I will take your calls. I will get to your calls. Roman, send a text message. I'll get to your call. I know you were on the line waiting, and we got one or two. But that is a thing too, because who was it? Somebody said something like that on a video I did. One of those transgender videos, and somebody, well, I hope your daughter gets raped. I'm like, here's the thing. You know, and I guess that's a thing to try to tie your emotional connection. I may be built a little different, right? Because I've lost somebody that I cared about and loved to cancer. I still crack cancer jokes because I feel like it's okay to laugh about anything. You got to laugh to keep from crying about shit sometimes. Like, I'm going to crack jokes about everything. We all got to go. Like, it's going to happen. Eventually, we all going to clock out. So the fear of death hinders some people. If it's a fucked up situation, it is fucked up. But I'm not the one that did it. I'm not the one that made this bad thing happen. So me kind of cracking jokes about certain things, you know, it's not a sign of disrespect. It's just sometimes you got to interject humor into things, you know. That's the way I look at it. I believe comedy is the last safe haven, especially for free speech in this country. And we're gonna hear a joke. Someone says they have a joke, so I'm finna hit them up. Not like Tupac though, but let me see. And if nobody else texts in, this may be the last call. We may get some mixer action in here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, what? Bitch calling. I've never used the word bitch ever in my life, Shelly. What's the motherfucking deal? Who am I calling this evening?
Yeah, this is Lee.
Lee, what's on your mind? You said you had a little jokey joke. I'm a fan of comedy.
Yeah, I did about Kanye and stuff, but that last caller, he sound like David Caruso and shit, for real though. Who's that dude for CSI and shit? What the fuck? But this is the thing that tripped me out about Kanye, right? Fans of music and entertainment now very, very forgiving.
Okay.
Real forgiving. Because if you think about it, he the only damn rap artist that could get gangsters after he did every dang all bodies black ancestors saying they were some coward ass slaves and shit. In the same breath that he started yelling in the same interview that he got liposuction for the fucking fans so he don't get picked on by his white wife fucking internet trolls from her TV show because they was picking on his fucking in-law who is white. And nobody fucking brings up the fact that this motherfucker said he got liposuction. Have you noticed this shit? Everybody talks about the MAGA hat, but he said out of his own motherfucking mouth that he got liposuction. How come nobody been roasting him over that?
I never even knew that. This is news to me as you shared it.
The interview, man, you'll be rolling because he slipped that in. He's like, I got liposuction for y'all. Get the fuck out of here. You ain't get no fucking liposuction for the fucking fans. You got that fucking shit because you was eating fucking fried chicken wings and shit on delivery and shit when you sold your soul for your fucking Happy Meal because it was a crappy deal. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He noticed what he did. He noticed what he did.
No.
You come on, just imagine any other fucking rapper. There's no Ludacris couldn't fucking tell you he got liposuction for the fucking fans and not get roasted.
Luda.
Nah, that shit. Biggie couldn't do that shit, and he was fat. Like, could nobody do it? Who the fuck could do that shit?
I don't know, man. Who didn't? Was I tripping with? Who was that? Big Pun? Didn't he get like some surgery before he ended up dying? But it was too late or something like that.
Shit. No, we wish he did. Should he probably still be alive if he did? Patrice O'Neal too. Everybody that was legit fucking dead. If they was fat and legit, they probably should have. Jackie Gleason and every goddamn body. That was for you, David Caruso. Since you don't really got too much heart for everybody get shot unless they crawling on their knees or a little kid, everybody else can get it. But see, I threw Jackie Gleason fat ass in there and shit, so I could see everybody get some liposuction love besides Kanye. Nah, for real. Nobody roasted him over there. But you know, you couldn't picture any other fucking rapper doing that shit, especially if you threw that shit back. You know, if Dr. Dre's like, yeah, I got liposuction and shit, you know, like, but I did that for y'all. Like, everybody's like, don't get the fuck out of here. Every time Kanye say some shit where it's like he didn't get his ass whooped, but people out telling him get the fuck out of here, don't nobody tell him get the fuck out of here. Everybody let him get a pass.
Why do you think that is?
How?
Why do you think everybody let him get a pass though?
That's because I think everybody's stupefied. Everybody got slap happy. We done lost and took so many motherfucking L's and shit, getting our ass whooped across the nation and shit. Just everything just looking fucking awful and shit. Everybody telling you it ain't awful and shit. You know? It's just fucked up. So it's like everybody like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. It don't matter. You can rap even if you can't rap. And then look at it. Lil Jon was like the first offender of that rapper who can't rap. All he did was ad-libs.
And see,
Lil Jon album based ad-libs.
Lil Jon paved the way for fucking what's his name? What's the other the DJ Khaled and shit. DJ Khaled and those likes niggas be making songs and get their names on the song, don't rap nothing on the song, just say one or two words in the intro and close it out, and then they get credited for a fucking song. That was Lil Jon. Lil Jon paved the way for that shit.
Yeah, but this the fucked up thing about it. Lil Jon had swag, which account for a little bit of something. That other dude, DJ Khaled, don't have that same amount of swag. Yeah. That's all the fuck he do. He on the top, or whatever the fuck you say, his fucking generic ass shit. You fucking welfare version of Lil Jon and shit. Bring that motherfucker back. If we gotta have somebody awful and shit, at least let it be our awful motherfuckers. Like, that's the Court Jester rap, though. Like, Court Jester rappers are like the offshoot of fucking Flavor Flav. Like, they Flavor Flav babies and shit. Like, you know, like from that school of rap. Like, here's Marky, ODB. You know what I mean? Like, the Court Jester funny rappers. But I don't see too much funny about, like, DJ Khaled and them and shit. They just some hacks and shit. But it's okay for us to have hacks. It's okay for us to have dudes that mumble and shit, can't even enunciate. So they just start humming with auto-tune, which Kanye fucking champion too, so they his babies. You know? For real.
Man, so I said something earlier. I don't know if you was in here earlier when we was talking about there's about 5 different groups of people post, I would say post 2000 rap fans that would go in maybe about 5 different categories. And I said, you know, one, you have your Kanye stans who, you know, believe Kanye changed the game up and he had a big influence on the music. You have your kind of more recent Kendrick Lamar fans who feels like, you know, he's the best. He has, again, I'm questioning where he lies between conscious and regular rap. Somebody said he's kind of 50-50. I could say, you know, that's cool. Drake, who's contributed nothing to the music. He's just made it popular. He's never innovated anything. Then you have, you know, your Jay-Z fans who are going to feel Jay-Z's the best no matter what.
Survive.
And then it was one more. I forgot what the other one. I forgot what the other one was. I said one more. But what are your thoughts on
Ain't
that?
that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? Like out the roundup of the top 10 and shit. Like the fucking, if the top 10, they don't even have to do nothing with skill no more. It's like the dude that survived, everybody else dying, but nobody really thought he wasn't shit until like after everybody was dead. And so it's like, oh well, shit. Well, this is what we got. This our guy. We like him now because I don't know. Because this is what we got to deal with. That's some bullshit. We got a whole bunch of bullshit. That's like okay, just accept it. This guy's hot. He's fucking hot. Because Liar Cohen told you he's fucking hot. This dude's fucking amazing. Fuck the Wu-Tang Clan. Don't listen to Wu-Tang Clan no more. Listen to this shit, man. It's fucking amazing, dude. I just hopped off my fucking skateboard, and there's fucking Lupe Fiasco and Nelly and all the other motherfuckers. That fucking dude, for real, he's gonna have to fucking hop out of his yellow skirt and shit and fucking get on a skateboard too. Everybody do it, man. Do the Mountain Dew.
Oh man.
Amazing rap, man. It's better than that two sock shaker guy. And the fat boy Biggie Small. Y'all don't need to listen to that shit no more, man. Listen to this little kid from Canada. He's amazing, man. His mom's Jewish, so he's amazing. He can hum or auto-tune too. That's what we got to accept and shit. Like, but then the cold-blooded thing about the other rappers, like Kendrick Lamar and all of them and stuff, like, they alright, but like this the cold-blooded shit, they supposed to be our version of a Public Enemy? How? I don't remember one track from them motherfuckers. That's some cold-blooded shit. Like, they don't have one chorus and shit. Like, I think he had one song, like, Bitch Be Humble or some shit. But they need to do that. Some of them do need to be humble. But, that's about it. Like, that's, like, I don't know. Like, that's some weird shit. That's some weird shit. Like, a bunch of rappers and shit that don't really got no catchphrase, don't have no chorus, don't got no hook that everybody remember. There's like a whole bunch of rappers and shit. All like I remember my brother used to fuck Tommy Wright the third. I don't know if you heard about Tommy Wright 3 or whatever and shit from down south and shit. But there's like all types of different little rappers that scattered different places that everybody didn't really get as much shine to listen to and stuff, but they was decent and had some tight from back in the day and shit. Like, y'all remember Kingpin, Skinny Pimp? Do the arm dance, hold up, camera, mine. Y'all remember that song? Everybody do the little arm dance. Everybody do the little arm dance. Hold up, camera, man. That shit was funny as hell, and everybody don't even know about that shit. But he was dissing 3-6 Mafia's one member because his arm is little and shit. I don't know if everybody know about that and shit, but they try to keep that on the low. But Kingpin and Skinny Pimp tried to ride on him with that song, do the little arm dance.
Yeah, that shit. That shit was funny. Okay. So what do you feel? I mean, so you're not in support of the Kanye and kind of the interview and kind of what he's been up to. You're not a Kanye fan. Were you ever a Kanye fan and you felt like he just changed up, or you've just never been on the Kanye bandwagon?
Hell yeah, Kanye changed up and shit. Like, he fucking, like, he ain't the same as what the fuck he started out being. Because they put him through fucking ringer and shit. Like, everybody say he fucking off his mama and shit, started a foundation or whatever the fuck, and started trying to be whatever he's trying to be with fucking that woman. With his girlfriend. I think that's the reason why he sell them fat people clothes now. Since he got fat and shit, he had to do liposuction. Because he got a big booty girlfriend. There's no way you gonna stay skinny with a fat using girlfriend and shit. Because she probably run and get liposuction all the time, probably do plastic surgery. And if you sitting up there laying up in her coochie, then you going to start thinking that shit good and do that shit too and shit. Eating crazy and shit, hanging with that shit till she's dead.
Well, I have no comment on that.
I'm saying, think about it. He's probably a church boy now and shit. The John Legend is scared the shit out of him and shit. With that plane turned around after that executive order came out and shit. That's the other thing everybody's sleeping on and shit. There's this girl named Liz that got banned off of Twitter and shit and a bunch of other websites because she said something about Chrissy Teigen, John Legend's fucking baby mama or whatever she is and shit, his wife or whatever. She had some tweets that was real rapey for little kids and shit.
Okay, that's terrible.
All types of shit about that she said John Legend was a pedophile and shit. And like a bunch of people saved the tweets, like when that James Gunn dude, they had his creepy tweets, and all them other people had their creepy tweets. She had her.
John Legend is just ordinary people, though.
Who?
John Legend is just ordinary people, though.
Shit, ordinary people to who? Like fucking the Black Dominican Bar elite and shit, like the Illuminati that's all in trouble with the Russian Joan and shit, with Soros and shit. I don't think these ordinary people and shit. They like pictures of him with Kamala Harris and all them motherfuckers. And that's the other thing everybody slept on with Dave Chappelle. Remember everybody had them fucking conspiracies about Dave Chappelle and shit? They talking about Oprah and all of them was trying to assassinate him because his shit was too funny. And he was like riding on fucking people in the hood too much. So they were saying that everybody from Bill Cosby and Oprah and all of them was getting at him, trying to put like the black Secret Service on and talk about they was going to have ninjas jump out and kill him and shit. And they had like all of these different things where they said they were sticking at him.
No.
You want to see the shit on this new fucking comedy thing, like the ending bit?
I have not
like,
watched it, and everybody told me to watch it. I never watched it. I still need to see that, the little epilogue thing.
Yeah, that new one and shit. Like on the new one, he say something and shit where he say that he was doing something, and he said that all of a sudden Kamala Harris and Obama and all of these other people was backstage at his motherfucking show and shit, which is weird because it's like an Easter egg for everybody that was thinking there was some conspiracy with people coming at him. He says that at the end of one of his fucking concert shows, he said that all of them motherfuckers popped up at his fucking show before he fucking dipped out and tried to run away to Africa. He said that they all came on his ass and shit. So he fucking made his reveal and shit. It's an Easter egg in there where he fucking confirms, like, yeah, they did. They came after my ass.
That's wild. That's wild. Man.
Everybody, president and shit and all types of other shit came to fucking Dave Chappelle fucking show on some weird shit.
That's wild.
And then everybody went by he got spooked.
No, I don't blame him, man. Like I said, I ain't mad at that man. That man has a lot. That man turned down with $50 million. Hey, look, it's got to be something serious if that's the case. But here's the deal, man. I hate to cut you short, but I got to take a quick honcho hiatus before we get ready to wind it up. And so, yeah, I got to be on the brink. But I definitely appreciate you sharing it. But I got to check that out. I did not know the Kanye liposuction thing, man. So that I definitely
hell yeah.
I had no
Look
idea.
up the TMZ thing. You gotta peep that shit for yourself. Cause he look at the whole fucking thing where he yelled at the dude and all of that shit. They fired that dude that he yelled at too after a while. But anyways, like if you look at the interview, Kanye says that shit during his rant. Like the TMZ, the long interview. Look at the whole fucking thing of it. That he freaks out and he be like, yeah, I got liposuction for y'all. Cause I ain't want y'all picking on me like y'all picked on Kim's brother, whatever the fuck. Like, it's like the fuck. Like, I don't know. That dude, he's a fucking clown shoe. Like, for real. He makes Chicago look bad.
That's tough, man. I don't know.
He makes Chicago look bad. He ain't really from Chicago no ways and shit. Like, do you know that shit? David Caruso, your last caller, he fucking told you and shit that motherfucker family fucking some fucking what they call it, some boule motherfucker. Mama was a teacher, fucking pop was some fucking photographer. back when black folks couldn't move around like that. You taking pictures and shit. Fuck out of here.
That's a bit, man. Like I said, I hate to cut you short, Lee, but I gotta make a run real quick, man.
All right, man.
But I appreciate your call.
Good talking to you. Be safe out there. Like if David Crusoe told you to get a vest, man, you know, be safe out there.
That's a bit, man. All right, Lee. Quick Honcho hiatus. I'll be right back in 2 shakes of a Scotty tail. Howdy. So, I'm going to do one last thing, something extremely special for you guys before we wrap it up. Okay? You guys have been asking about something. Yes. I'll wash my hands. And ate a chicken wing. So, I'm going to do something special for you guys. And first, I'm going to read a text. I'm going to read a text and then I'm going to do something real special for you guys. This is from it's your boy Roman. It says, fuck, John, this man beat my damn call record and made me, I'm assuming, miss my call. Just kidding. I'm cool with John when it comes to Kanye's new album. I loved it because it was not his best album of all time, and I did not like every song on there. But the message and the colors used just show how simple it was. I know everybody in the den is not a Christian, but it felt good to listen to something new than the same shit we see every day. And I can say that too. Again, like I said, it sounded different. And again, I think you have different genres of music, and what I think Christian rap is a peculiar. It's a real weird gray area of music. You know, Got niggas out there in the streets busting caps for Jesus. You gotta be careful. Niggas out there riding on spinning cross rims. Some of those Christian rappers I have questions about, right? So this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna do this, and then after this call, I'm gonna jump on the Mixer crew for a little bit. So if you want to get on the Mixer crew, talk a little shit, we can definitely do that. I say we pray. Pray, I say we pray. But coming right now, for all you dinners and den folks who've been asking for this. Give me just a moment. I'm going to do something very special for you guys. Stay tuned.
What's up? It's Bretto. What's up, man? How you been?
Bretto, we have been looking for you, Mr. Bretto. How have things been?
Well, you know what? I've been gone because I fucking pimped the shit out of female pimp, dude.
Oh.
I swear to God, I pimped her out, man. Check this out. Yeah.
International players out there.
Sorry, I had to do it.
It's all
But
right.
anyways, how you been, dude?
Man,
Chilling or what?
I've been good, Bretto, man. Been good. The den folk have been asking, where is Bretto? I hope Bretto's all right. I had no idea. I've switched phone systems, so I didn't have the old number because, I have no problem calling Bretto.
I know. Your shit was all high tech, dude. I remember when I first called you up, and I'd fucking call, and it'd be like, there'd be a message like, hey, this is the den. Just leave a message after the beep. Now it's like when you call, he's like, our office is now closed. You're going to have to, whatever, some shit like that. But it was like, God damn, dude, you're making it big now. You got a little robot bitch telling you.
Yeah, Robo bitch. The den has been famous for Robo hoes. I had to give me a Robo ho assistant. Got to handle my biz. But that's what's happening. So what's been going on in Bretto's world, man?
Man, it's good, dude. I've been hella busy. I work for a tobacco company, man. It's just like they give me hella hours and shit.
Okay.
Like every time I try calling, it's like it's all fucking busy, or I can't call. Like I'll get off work or whatever. But anyways, I had today off, and I was like, I'm gonna call up the den if they're still fucking on, bro. Because there was a couple episodes where I watched, and I was like, God damn, I wish I would have fucking called. Ooh, there was such good topics. Like, okay, I want to talk about this shit. That LGBT Democratic town hall shit. What the fuck was that shit about? Seriously, what the fuck? You watched the whole thing, right?
No, I didn't get a chance to see the whole thing. I've been saying I would.
Man.
I didn't see the whole thing.
I want to talk about the cringiest moments. Okay. There was a scene. Did you see when Anderson Cooper starts talking to Joe Biden?
No, I did not see that.
That was creepy as shit. Joe Biden, okay, and he's fucking lying. Because Joe Biden's like 70. Basically, Joe Biden's telling him a story about when he was a little boy, him and his dad were walking down the street, and they saw two gay dudes making out. And then he asked his dad, like, Dad, what's that? And his dad was like, son, it's simple to understand. Those are just two men in love. Bullshit, that would have happened in like the 1940s and shit. Bull fucking shit. His dad would have been like, yeah, they're just two guys in love. He would have been like, those are some goddamn faggots, son. Fuck those sons of bitches. Back then, dude, everybody was fucking homophobic.
Oh, yeah,
shit,
absolutely.
Bro.
That would not fly back then. That was not acceptable. They probably would
Hell
have
no.
jumped
They would have been arrested. It would have been illegal, too. It was illegal back then, too. His dad probably would have called the cops, like, oh, hey, we got a couple faggots over here. Send the cops now! Get them off the street!
But isn't that crazy how these politicians will say anything? But isn't it crazy how these politicians will say anything? They'll make up these fake stories just to get people on their side, to make them believe that they are. All right, man, K, appreciate you coming through. But they'll say anything just to get people on their side, to get people believing that they really care, that they have no shame.
I know. It's so pathetic. That was I tell you what, I'm a moderate. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I will never vote Democrat again after that. It was so cringy. And then he starts talking, and Joe Biden says, okay, when I came out, when I became a politician, it was supposed to be a joke, but it was so cringy because Anderson Cooper is hella gay in real life. You know what I mean? And then Anderson Cooper gives him a hug. He's like, oh, that would have been newsworthy. Yeah. And then it's even cringier
Like, that's some douchebag ass shit because they need to pander to the LGBT community just to get votes. That is like the filthiest. Like, they have to do that to get their vote. They can't say, we're going to do this for you, that for you. They just have to pander and just try to act like they're gay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What the fuck? Okay, now, did you see the Cory Booker shit?
No, this is like, I missed the
Oh
majority.
my God, you need to look that up on YouTube. It was with the LGBT town hall thing. There's a gay dude that asked Cory Booker a question, right? And Cory Booker was like, you know what? He starts hitting on him. I swear to God. You can watch this on YouTube if you don't believe me. He's like, you're a sexy man. Yeah. You're real handsome. I love that haircut. I like it bald. Yeah, you're so sexy. It was super fucking creepy, bro.
So somebody told...
The gay dude that was asking him a question, and the gay dude just likes it. He's like...
so Cory Booker told that to the gay dude?
Yeah, Cory Booker says that to the gay dude, and the gay dude's like, oh... He's all blushing and shit.
It must have been
hella fucking cringy, bro. Hella fucking weird. I'm telling you, everybody needs to look that shit up. It was. I saw that, and I was like, ooh, that's so cringy. And then Kamala Harris was the worst piece of shit of them all. She was like, well, you know what my preferred pronouns are? Nobody even asked her anything. That's the first thing she said. She's like, she, her, and hers. That's me. And then that one piece of shit, I can't remember the host's name, but he says, yeah, me too. And then he got so much hate for that he had to apologize because he's not a she or a her. So he didn't use the proper pronouns. So everybody got all mad and shit, wanted to shit their fucking pants. Okay. And then a little 9-year-old transgender boy takes the mic. And he's like, hi, my name is Billy, and I'm a 9-year-old transgender American boy. And the whole thing start clapping. They're like, yeah, woo, woo. I'm just like, what the fuck? And then Elizabeth Warren is like, way to go, Billy. That's great. Oh, Billy, that's so nice. And his mom is standing right next to him, right? And I swear to put him up to this. She forced him to do this. She's evil. And the whole transgender thing was so staged. I watched your show, and I agree. It was so fucking staged. That black transgender woman, she would have been arrested. You're fucking right, dude. That was how it was staged. You're completely right, dude. Imagine this, Honcho. Imagine if I would have been the one protesting there. Imagine if I was like, hey, the whole transgender mania thing is a fad. Give me the mic. I'm going to take the mic from you guys. It's part of population control to rid the world of masculinity. Masculinity men fight back. They fight against tyrannical governments. They push this agenda on us. We fight against it. They would have arrested me. They said, get him out of here. Get him out. They would have been like, yeah, oh, way to go. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was so fucking staged.
Absolutely. Like I said, there's no way that something that they didn't have scripted, planned, or on the itinerary, they would just let it go and continue to hand the mic to this person back and forth, and no one would feel that comfortable walking up to the stage, the guest, the host, or whatever, and just getting that amount of, like I say, it was so fucking fraudulent that
definitely,
it's crazy.
Dave Chappelle made a joke on this. And by the way, Sticks and Stones is brilliant. I watched that too. Fucking brilliant. Brilliant, bro. That was his best shit of all. His best shit. But Dave Chappelle mentioned this too. There was a guy that went to a John Kerry rally back when he was running for president. I don't know if you remember, but he ran for president about 15 years ago. And he was talking about how the government controlled by the New World Order and all this shit like that. They fucking arrested his ass, fucking shit out of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they say something they don't like, they're going to fucking arrest you and beat the shit out of you. And then another thing, Honcho, before I forget. That James Younger shit. Oh my God, that pisses me off. That shit really fucking ticks me off, bro. And you know what gets me the worst about it, though? MSNBC is silent on the issue. They're not talking about it because they know deep down inside that most Democrats would probably side with the father. You know that, right? Like that, not even they're that hardcore PC. You know what I mean? That's like a fringe of society. Yeah. But I think even most Democrats would be like, nah, this is fucking wrong to give fucking children chemical castration. You know what I mean? The majority of Americans are against that shit. So they're not even going to put it on NBC. But you know what pissed me off, Honcho? Forbes magazine wrote an article that pissed me the fuck off.
What's that?
You know what the headline said?
What's that?
Texas is afraid of a 7-year-old trans girl. Fuck you.
And that's crazy because, you know.
But mom is pushing this shit on her.
Like,
you know what I mean? That's fucking horrible.
It's terrible that the magazines like that, the business things that you look to for business and information. Forbes used to be a publication that people looked forward to, you know, reading and getting information from. But now I guess everybody has to hop into the politicizing of everything and jump into the SJW, the woke and everything like that. You know, Forbes is trash now. I had a subscription to Forbes about a year ago.
It's worse than MSNBC, dude. Worse. I'm telling you, what's worse?
No. So yeah.
I don't know about Vice. Vice is probably the shittiest of them all.
Oh,
Vice is shit.
Yeah, it's
Vice is fucking horrible.
It's terrible. TYT. The
headline should have said, Forbes magazine pushes propaganda for population control to chemically castrate a child. That's what the headline should have said. You know? Okay, another headline that really pissed me off even more was by the Daily Beast. And this is what it says. The headline says, how the right weaponized a 7-year-old trans child.
Wow.
Headline should have. CIA bought and controlled news outlets like the Daily Beast from Operation Mock. Now they're using the Daily Beast to push propaganda to castrate our children. That's what it should have said. Fucking asshole. And by the way, I just want to say, the Joker movie is really fucking good. Don't read the reviews because Disney controls Rotten Tomatoes.
Don't say anything about it. Don't say anything about it. I'm going in the morning to go watch it because
I'm not to spoil it. I'm going to tell you, it's a really good fucking movie. Really good. The best movie I've seen all fucking year. And Joaquin Phoenix deserves a fucking Oscar for that shit.
Yeah.
Man, is it a great movie. That's all I'm going to say. I will not ruin it for you.
Okay.
That's all I want to say. And that Rotten Tomatoes is owned by Disney. And Disney is rival, because they own Marvel, they're rivals with DC. They're purposely giving it downvotes because they're pushing justice propaganda. I'm telling you a fact, I'm not making this up, because they own Fandango. Fandango owns Rotten Tomatoes. So I learned that they're purposely, okay, I'm going to give you an example, Honcho. Sticks and Stones. Did you hear about Go to Rotten Tomatoes? It has a 0% like by critics.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Yeah.
It has a 99% like by audiences.
Yeah.
I swear to God, go to Rotten. That's the funniest fucking shit ever because they don't like that pushes against their agenda. Dave Chappelle owns them. He fucking owns them with Sticks and Stones. And they don't want people to see it. They don't want it, Honcho.
Yeah.
I want to watch it again. It's good.
Yeah, I still got to watch Paper Tiger. I've heard a bunch of people say Paper Tiger from Bill Burr is really good. I haven't watched that one yet. I need to see that one.
Yeah. But hey, Honcho, if you don't believe any of your audience, go to Rotten Tomatoes right now and look up Dave Chappelle, Sticks and Stones. And if you've seen it and you know how goddamn fucking funny it is it really a 0%? Really? Look at the audience review. It has 99%. He's talking about shit that they don't want to hear about. But they're trying to censor him. And it's bullshit, bro. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes. Fuck them all to hell. I just want to say peace out, man. I'm going to call you back one day again, man. Have a good one.
Already, Bretto, man. Good to hear from you. Glad you're all
got
right.
anything else you want to ask me before I hang up?
Nah, man, that's all I got. It's just good to hear from you, man. Like I said, it's good to know that you're all right, and everybody was wondering. And so I'm
going to call back, and I'm telling you, man, I'm feeling good right now. Really good. Like I could fly in the air. I couldn't do it. Oh, my God. I'm inspiration to the world. I love you guys. Peace out. Yay!
Shout out to Britto, man. And I think that is the perfect way to wind it down. Like I said, I know so many people were wondering, where Mr. Britto's been. So, she took $400 from you, Shelly. All right, let me see. I'll have to backdoor the bank account. I'll get these out of her account properly and swiftly, and make sure y'all. Has anyone else been accosted by Sweetberry and needs to be recouped for their pistachios? Man, I'm a
Marie Antoinette donated $3. I like that the caller sounds gender fluid.
appreciate the love, Ria, for that. I don't ever know what to expect in the den, man. I love y'all, man. Y'all don't understand. I fuck with y'all, man. I really appreciate y'all, man. I wish Chicago Mike, wherever you are, man, you are more than welcome back. You are more. I wish Chicago Mike would come back, and I wish he would call every day. Like my whole deal is like I thought that was probably one of the greatest nights in the den. Man, I don't know if Miss Cartier's in here, but who remembers what show that was? The first show that Miss Cartier White called. That was one of the dens. That's one of the I'm trying to remember. I want to make a list, and I'm gonna probably have to get some like triple OG den folks. Nah, Nikki said she was gonna slide through the night. She commented on the on the thing talking about I'm gonna come see y'all tonight. See, she lied to us. I told her to take a nap and come see us, and see she stood us up. I feel upset, but she said she was like I guess I'll come see y'all tonight. She's still napping. She's just a napper, but I want the OG, triple OG, double OG, wherever you may be. As we start winding down towards the end of the year, I want to start taking nominations for the best calls. Like, just whatever your favorite call was, and then maybe like late November or in December, something like that. I'll put like maybe a top 10 call compilation together and do something with that. Put up like a little video that would just, it's been a little over a year, I think, since we kind of switched the format of the den. So maybe late November, something like that. And so if you guys have a favorite call, there's a couple of them. And it's so I got to go back and try to really do some recollecting. I know Prepaid had a few great calls. Professor Trills had some great calls. Miss White has had some great calls. Ashley has had some very interesting calls. Everybody's had some interesting calls. Like, I'm not saying that other people have not had good calls and very thoughtful points. When I mean great calls, like things that were just said that just stood up and stood out, just like, where did that come from? Or just shocking. And so the breakup, the Maria call, that's like a multi-parter. But we might be able to make that. That was that. The breakup was one. And so, like I said, I'm gonna have to go back and like find when all these calls happened, because I remember Miss Cartier's first call, when she was talking about Bill that wall, and not to trust the Nigerians. That shit was hilarious. There's a couple other great calls too. Like I said, there's a lot of very good calls. But I'm like, and again, like there's good calls, and then there's just those shockingly entertaining calls. There's some very, very good ones. So when Hasty hit his daughter, I don't remember. I remember the call, but I don't remember that one. It was one prepaid went in. It was one. Man, I gotta find it, because I actually took the audio off of that one and set it aside, and I don't know if I had accidentally deleted it when I cleaned up my hard drives or something. But it was one where he was just going in on education and family and things of that nature, and it was a great, great call that I think was underappreciated. So, there's that. The Shannon Cucumber call. Oh, good grief. I don't know if we want to relive that nightmare. Was that the same call where she talked about she was all on the couch and everything? Miss Meat is we got beef. Rashida's definitely had some great calls. Miss Meat has had some very energetic calls. I'm gonna have to go back and find that call about that snapper. Ashley's definitely had some very interesting calls, coaxing her friends into doing terrible relationship stuff. You're gonna have to figure out how that whole thing works. I forgot how that formula worked. Like I said, it's a lot. It's a lot of good calls on there. I'm trying to think who's had some great calls that ain't been around in a while. Excuse me. Well, like I say, it's an unlimited supply. So I mean, you could really pick a series of. Definitely AB's definitely got some great, like, what they cheering for this bitch for. She losing is probably one of my favorite den calls of all time. It's definitely up there, probably in top 3 consideration. And like I say, not to play no favorite, but it's just because there were so many memorable lines from that call that it was man, oh my God. I'm really, I can't, I get, it's funny just thinking about this. And for those of y'all who have not heard some of these calls, man, I don't know if that was the first Sunday night confession, but it was one of them. It was one of the early Sunday night confessions, and it was like early. That was a classic call. And I think you're talking about the chick in the purple. Oh my God. You ever feel yourself falling in slow motion? That shit was so fucking funny. But yeah. So we gonna, I want y'all to start thinking of, you know what I'm saying? Just whenever y'all think of some of your favorite calls, if you can think of anything just specific or whatever you got, just some of your favorite calls, I remember Anomalous, huh? That was a short call, but that shit was funny. Yes, that was a very interesting call. Man, I'm telling you, I wish we could find. Yeah, I think that was a man up call right there. So yeah, we definitely gotta. We definitely gotta make it shake. There's a lot of good calls. It'd be tough. It'll be really tough to pick. It'll be really tough to pick 10 calls, man. But then, like I said, I want to do it kind of early before. Like I want to, like I said, as we're making our way into November, I'll spend kind of November trying to find the proper calls, and then in December we'll kind of vote on them, and then hopefully try to get a nice little compilation to the. I fucking hate Hikers. I hate Hikers so fucking much. It is super funny because it was a very interesting situation at the little one side. Oh, they got blasted today. Oh, they got demolished. They got demolished today. It was not even close. A bunch of little fucking girls crying in the fucking first. They do little quarters or whatever. A bunch of little girls crying in the first quarter. It's a very sad sight. I thought it was hilarious. The soccer equivalent of Kennedy, because they didn't score at all. Like they put they had like 3 or 4 goals on them in the first quarter. Like the first little goalie they had, you could just see her demeanor breaking down with each goal. She was done by the third one. Then Lil one got in. She did good. Like no, I think she's the only one that didn't get any goals scored on her. But she wants to be in the field so bad because she wants to get out there scoring. I try to tell her sometimes, maybe it's better for you to play goalie than be in the field because you're probably the best goalie that they got on the team. Because you're actually pretty good at it. But after they were getting, she's all crying, so I got on her ass about that crying shit because I don't play that shit. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you crying for. It's still the first quarter. Y'all got like a lot of game to go. And if you're going to be sitting here crying, the ball going to be coming at your ass. You're going to be having blurry eyes. You're going to get your ass scored on, so you better tighten up. And then, like I said, I think she's the only one who didn't get scored on. And after that, yeah, it got ugly. Oh, man, this one little girl had a great little save. She was like super short. She had a great save, put the ball back in play, boom, got scored on. So they probably got scored on about 7, 8 times, man. So it is what it is, though. But with that being said, y'all, I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to slide to the mixer here in about 5 minutes. So if you want to talk, shop it up on the mixer, I'll be there. But it is an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure each and every night. And I'm going to fuck with y'all tomorrow, then at 10 tomorrow night. I'm gone.